All right, today we are going to be doing Al's deck, the Pink Durdle, as it's called here. This is a really cool Boros Control Deck that Al's put together for us for the deck donation for the channel. I'm looking forward to playing cards like False Prophet. Oh my god, False Prophet. Get out of here with this guy. False Prophet's great because it exiles everything that it kills, so that's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing how this works with the deck. Of course, your win condition being Decree of Justice. We've got a Planar Birth in here. Replenish, a few Wrath of Gods, Enlightened Tutor, Lightning Bolt, Swords to Plowshares, a couple of Scroll Racks, Goblin Bombardment. Okay, I see what's going on here. Goblin Bombardment, Goblin Trenches, Humility, Oath of Lieges for you people out there that were listening to Phil Bleckman freak out about Oath of Lieges during the LobsterCon in between rounds we had. This is a card that I think Phil's going to be very excited to play. Since we're doing both Phil and I will play your deck during July. If you do a deck donation, you're going to get both of us. So look out for Phil's review of this deck as well. And so we've got Orum's Prayer. If any creatures attack you, you gain 1 life for each attacking creature. Okay, well that works good with the Humility, right? So then they're locked out of creature damage from you. Seal of Cleansing, Seal of Fire, and Shared Triumph. So you can make your boys bigger than your opponent's boys. Okay. And then we've got a couple of Keldron Outpost. Oh, sweet. Dust Bowl. You know, your basics. Sarah's Sanctum, Thawing Glaciers. Sideboard has 5 Blasts. I keep saying 5 Blasts is the number. A Pulverize. 2 Furnace, 3 Disenchant. 3 Cursed Totem. 1 Aura of Silence. I am hype to check out what this deck can do. So we're going to go into the leagues and check it out.
All right, everybody. Welcome back for another donation deck list time. Today we are playing a donation deck list called Pink Durdle by Al. Al, thank you so much for sending along this Pink Durdle deck list. This is a Premodern event. I'm really excited. This is gonna be my first time streaming Premodern in a video. It's also gonna be my first time trying to play Premodern online. Typically, I play Premodern with friends in paper because the format is awesome, and I'm going to be playing in Sacred Torch. Showdown in NYC. Love going to LobsterCon every year. Premodern is absolutely fantastic, and I'm really excited to try something that I don't think I would ever reach into, really. Like, in Premodern, I'm a Gush guy. You know, I like my accumulated knowledges and my impulses and my Gaia's blessings. You know, I just want to play Parfait. But today, Al has given us what he's calling Pink Durdle, which is this really cool red-white sort of like deck list that's keeping in check a bunch of creatures and using Oath of Lieges to go underneath and Planar Rebirth to like rebuild some lands out of the yard by sacrificing to them to Dust Bowl and Keldron Outpost. And it's just like a lot of cool stuff going on. We got False Prophet with Goblin Bombardment, Seal of Cleansing, and Shared Triumph. Getting in Shared Triumph, obviously building up our Goblin Trenches, which is working with our 3 Humility. We have Enlightened Tutors and Swords to Plowshares and all the good stuff to go along with it. We have an Orum's Prayer. Whenever one or more creatures attack you, you gain 1 life for each attacking creature, which essentially just blanks all creatures. If you have a Humility on the table, you just can't. This combination of 2 cards just means that, like, they try and attack you for 1, you gain 1, and your life total stays the same, and they can't really touch you. So 7-card, 2-card combo will just lock down attacking you. Pretty sweet. It's like as close to moat as you can get, it seems like, in this format. But I'm excited about False Prophet with Goblin Bombardments, Goblin Trenches with Goblin Bombardment, Shared Triumph with Goblin Trenches is going to get us big. Humility with our creatures is going to get us big. Builds up our Decree of Justice. Shared Triumph is like this cool little thing where we can put it on goblins or soldiers depending on what we need to, like, you know, do this. Straight up doubles our closing speed with Decree of Justice. So cool little interplay there. There's just like a lot going on with this deck, and I'm just going to be curious to see if Scroll Rack in a deck that otherwise does not go up cards, like there isn't anything that is like drawing a card. You have Oath of Lieges and like to go up to search lands, but there's no way to like go up cards in your physical hand other than drawing them. So I think that's going to be really the test to see, is Scroll Rack worth it in that sense? discarding a land to Goblin Trenches with the Plan of Rebirth is going to be potentially really sweet. Like, there's a lot of cool interaction here. The thing that's catching me is I played a lot of Scroll Rack, and I know the bottleneck on Scroll Rack is you're going down a card for the Scroll Rack, and then if you don't have, like, Gush or some other high-volume card draw, you're just not going to have access to really leveraging that Scroll Rack in a meaningful way. So I'll be curious about Scroll Rack, but I love everything else that is going on. In the sideboard, we got some Phyrexian Furnaces to hit the graveyards. We got 5 Red Blasts. That's Zach Clark's patented minimum when it comes to how many blasters you play if you're playing red. So we got the 5 suite here. We got some Curse Totems to crush creatures even harder. Some more Disenchant effects. We have 2 Seal of Cleansings in the main, but we have 3 Disenchants and an Aura of Silence in the board to just deal with more of that stuff. And that stuff is in the main because we have 2 Replenishes in the board. We have this like sort of like subtle enchantment package with Sarah Sanctum and Replenish that we can also like do some cool shenanigans with. I imagine we're going to find about that out in game. And then we also have Pulverize to destroy all artifacts, and then it'll be interesting to see if we can do like a Pulverize, destroy all artifacts, and then pick it back up with Plan of Rebirth type shenanigans. This deck is just super sweet. It's also a 61 card special. I did not add 61 cards. The Moxfield that Al sent has 61 cards, so we're playing a 61 card special today. And, you know, what card are you even supposed to cut? What could you even cut? This deck is sweet. We're doing sweet stuff. How could you possibly? We're not going to cut a False Prophet. We need at least 2 False Prophet. We need at least 3 Humility. We got to have all these Wrath of Gods without you. Like, you just got to have all. You got to have all this stuff. You just need all this stuff. I certainly am not going to cut this Thawing Glaciers at the bottom. No way. No way. I love me a Thawing Glaciers. So the way that I was told how you can play some Premodern online, you go to Freeform, you type in Premodern, and then you join, and then hopefully we get some sweet games in. So again, this is Al's Pink Durdle deck. Al with the Pink Durdle, and I'm really excited about this because I haven't gotten to play Premodern on Moto yet, and I think this deck is super sweet. It's doing a lot of cool stuff that it's getting my juices flowing, my brain turning. You know, like Goblin Trenches to make 2 1/1s, and then just as a slow burn with Plan of Rebirth and picking that back up. It's just like, it's just super cool. It's just super, super cool. I think that like there's a lot, like if we run into anything that's not trying to do creature stuff, we're gonna have a bit of a problem, I think. Like Sorcerer Plowshares, Lightning Bolt, Seal of Fire, Goblin Bombardment, False Prophet, Humility, Wrath of God. Like if they are just trying to, you know, combo in any way, like it's gonna be tough for us. It'll be tough for us. But we do have the Curse Totems for like the Elves type matchups, I imagine. This also can turn off things like Weathered Wayfarer and stuff. So we'll see, like depending on the decks that show up for that. There's a lot of utility going on. I think that like it really just depends on our matchups. Which is why I love Premodern. It's like the format is wide enough that I go, okay, well, there's these tools for like certain things, but like, is it good enough? Is it the right numbers? Is like, you know, I mean, 26 land. I'm happy to have 26 land in a deck that otherwise doesn't have a thing, but it's like, you know, do we need 2 Scroll Rack? Can we get down to 60 cards? I don't know. Maybe we just need all these things, and it's possible that we definitely do. While we wait, I'm okay waiting because I like talking about this stuff. I hadn't thought about the Orm's Prayers. Like I've seen this card. I've definitely looked at this card because the art is sweet. I've definitely thought about like what would it take to make this card good in like the sort of, you know, controlling decks that I like to play. And I always lean towards like propaganda. But the thing is that if you're not taxing their mana in a meaningful way, then sometimes like they can just start paying, and it's like, okay, you tax them 2 mana, but the game's going long enough that 2 mana is not really a big deal anyway. But then 1 life is not good if you're playing against something like Dreadnought. But I didn't necessarily think about pairing it with Humility and just being a really Humility-focused deck. And a lot of what's going on with this deck is if you were to say, what is this deck first? It's like, you got to probably argue that this is a Humility deck. You know, like Orm's Prayer works with Humility. Decree of Justice goes well with Humility and is going to block all their creatures and do good stuff. Goblin Bombardment with all this stuff is like, yeah, okay, I'll sacrifice a creature and ping down your 1/1 now because of Humility. Bolt gets everything down into Humility range. I'm sorry, Humility gets everything down into Bolt range. Same thing with Seal of Fire. And then, like, we have 5 Humilities with these 2 Enlightened Tutors across our deck, and if anybody tries to deal with them, then we just replenish them back. Like, there's a lot of action going on here.
Finding the right high-end cards for Legacy, Vintage, Premodern, or Old School Magic can be challenging. That's where our friends 3-for-1 Trading come in.
3-for-1 Trading is one of Europe's top Magic the Gathering retailers with an incredible selection of premium singles, sealed product, and even full sets, all available with free, fast, and secure worldwide shipping.
They add fresh inventory every Wednesday with weekly deals and discounts. So whether you're hunting for that elusive piece of power, a legacy staple, or something spicy for your collection, they've got you covered.
First high-end orders over $500 or 500 euros, use the code EDFREE to get free worldwide shipping.
Check them out now at the number 3, the number 4, the number 1.gg/ED. That link takes you right to the shop and helps support the channel.
Huge thanks to 3for1 Trading for supporting the Legacy community. Now back to the show.
This should be fun. Something to also note that this deck has 61 cards. So we've got that going for us as well as a fun extra piece of the puzzle here. I'm excited to play this control deck. All right, we have won the die roll, so we're going to be on the play. This doesn't look great. We're going to mulligan this. We'll keep this. The last hand, we just didn't have anything that we could do. We're going to pitch 1 humility back. That's fine. We just needed to have like a white mana there. So we're just going to play a land and pass Oath of Lieges. During each player's upkeep, that target player controls more lands than they do. Then you get to search your library for a basic land and put that into the battlefield. Huzzah! Onto the battlefield. Okay. What we're going to do is... Interesting. Okay, let's do... I'll pop a Shared Triumph down. We're going to name... What do they make? Soldiers? Let's look at soldiers. Yeah, soldiers. We're going to say soldiers. And we'll pass turn. Does Goblin Trenches also make soldiers? Yeah, they're goblin soldiers. Okay. Oh my gosh, something crazy's happening. Quiet speculation. All right. Deep analysis, and Roar of the Worm. All right. Well, thankfully, we're in a situation where, well, first off, amazing. Let's get Oath of Lieges on the battlefield, I suppose. Now, my opponent's going to get a land, so that was kind of dumb on my end. I forgot Oath works for both players, so now we know that. Keep that in mind. But if they play a land and then play a land, we get to get a land. So that's not the worst, actually. That's the way this works. Kind of actually makes sense for us. Oh, they don't have any basics. Hey-oh. That's pretty slick. Wow, just doubling the land count there. Okay. Huh. I think we're going to go for an Enlightened Tutor here. Enlightened Tutor, what do you think, for a Scroll Rack? Or yeah, let's do it. Let's do a Scroll Rack. Untap. And we're going to play Scroll Rack, pass the turn. Impulse. So we're going to try and let Oath of Lieges do some work for us next turn. Oh my gosh, what's happening? Whoa, what? Lion's Eye Diamond. Uh-oh. Something crazy's happening right now. Burning Wish. Oh my gosh. Yo, what is even going on? Balancing Act. Okay, casting Balancing Act. Each player chooses a number of permanents they control equal to the number of permanents controlled by the player with the fewest, and then sacrifices the rest. Each player discards cards the same way. Well, that is absolutely vicious. So, let's use... Man, permanents. That is rough. We'll put... I guess we'll put both these back like that, sure. I mean, this is bad for us, right? There's not a whole lot we can do. Yep. Sacrifice every permanent. Discard every card. Man. And my opponent is going to get to... So, we're definitely going to get that... all right. So, we'll let them do the beatdown. That's... Yeah, we're passing through the turn. Unlikely we're going to get this one. At least this game. But we can mess with the graveyard a little bit to get where we need to go. Okay. Yep. Taking another hit. I have a chance, right? We're playing a Swords to Plowshares. If I get a Swords, I'm right back in this game. So they're not really doing much of anything. Now, I need to draw a... And we lost. We'll concede. Okay. So if I had drawn a Plains or a Swords, we would have had a chance. Okay, so we're going to do those two things. I don't know that anything else is even anywhere near good against my opponent here. Let's get rid of that. Humility is interesting. I don't think False Prophet is going to do it for us. Let's do that. I think the only thing we can do is use Phyrexian Furnace. This is one of those rare times where, like, this is just absolutely not good for us. Okay, so when the die roll, would you like to play first? Yes. Oof. We're going to mulligan. Oh, no, we kept. That was a terrible play on our end. All right. Hopefully, we draw a Plains. That would be sweet. We did not. Okay, we're in trouble. Bad keep on my end. I definitely meant to hit the mulligan, but we'll see what happens. Quiet Spec. You got it. All right. They got Roar and 2 Deep Analysis. We might make this, okay. There we go. Saved by the bell here. Maybe we can get another land. It's going to be rough. That balancing act is going to will be trouble for us. But it's good that we can get another land for each player. That player chooses a target player that controls more lands. Yeah, okay. Yes. I'll get a Plains. Put that Plains into play. Dust Bowl. Sweet. Okay, now. Yeah, think about this. There's nothing good can come of this. So what we're going to do is, well, I think we go to the other player's upkeep, right? Impulse. Okay. So what we can do is during the upkeep, blow up one of their lands. All right. Sacrifice this. And of any color. Sure, we're going to hit that one. And I'll sacrifice Mountain to do it. I think this has got to be our play. We're fortunate in that we have access. Okay. Deep Analysis. You got it. Okay. Interesting. Well, don't see a lot of good that is going to come for us here. So let's just Planar Birth, I guess, and pass the turn. They're not getting anything out of the Oath of Lieges, so we've got that going for us at least. What I really need is for this deck to get a... Okay, Ruins of Trokir. Great. Okay. We're going to play... We have to play the land. That's fine. And then... Yeah, we just have to pass through their turn. I think the smart play here is on my turn, I have to set a stop as well. Right? At the beginning of each player's, yeah. Okay. So let's use this. Okay, we'll put that on the stack. Nice. Kill that. 1, 2, 3. We'll sacrifice the dust, not the Dust Bowl. All right, we got to just keep them off of 4 lands, I think. That might be our play. We can keep doing this. Huh. Yep. Okay. Let's kill that. 1, 2, 3. And I'll sacrifice this Plains. And we're just going to see if we can outland them, I guess. They probably have way more lands than me, which is rough. But if they play a land, I get a... Yeah, okay. Here we go. Something's happening. Yeah, there it goes. Not a lot we could do there. Yeah, this is problematic. Yeah, got to sack them all. Any order. Yep. Okay. Yeah, this is a case where you really wanted some sort of a graveyard hate card. Pass turn. Without counter magic. This is the life we live. Live by the sword, die by the sword, right? There was a little bit of counterplay here. We need to see a swords and a Plains. Without that, we're just getting donked every turn. Oh, you're a day late and a dollar short. It could, like, being at 1, if I draw a Plains or swords, I have a chance here. What do I draw? Nope. Didn't get it. Sacrifice this. I'll get rid of Roar of the Worm. Oh, there's the swords. Okay. Well, that was a game. Let's try another one. Punished for not playing enough Graveyard Hate, I feel like, in that one. Tormod's Crypt is a card that I would think about for the sideboard. I don't know that Aura Silence is doing us a lot of favors here, or the 3 disenchants, but we'll have to see as time goes on. I find that right now I'm really liking a lot of Graveyard Hate. So maybe that's just maybe that's me, but that's what I'm seeing in the meta, is that the graveyard decks are coming along and being something you really do have to worry about. And that's a deck that specifically punishes you for not playing any blue cards. If you can't counter that, then you pretty much just auto lose the game, right? It was a cool deck, though. The Balancing Act, Lion's Eye Diamond, Quiet Speculation. That's a sweet plan. A Phyrexian Furnace would have changed that game immensely, though.
I'm hoping I did this right. I'm hoping that I am supposed to go into best of 3 in free form and then just type Premodern, and that's how we get there. I'm hoping that that is correct. Because I see people playing Premodern here. I see these guys playing Premodern. I see these guys playing Premodern. So I've got to assume that this is correct indeed. And it makes sense that nobody wants a piece of this. Nobody wants a piece of the Pink Durdle. Like, I get it. I get it. Like, Force Phil going to show up with a sort of control-y, cool, synergistic deck that doesn't have blue cards in it? Like, fear. Be fearful. All right, we are in with round 1, playing against F3D88. Let's get it. They get to choose whether or not they want to be on the play. Doesn't matter. We're just going to Pink Durdle them. Going to Pink Dip Durdle them. While they're thinking about that, if you like Premodern and you want to get in on this action, you can always submit a donation deck list at our Patreon tier, which you can find at patreon.com/eternaldurdles. Hit the Patreon tier, and then you can submit any deck list that you want, and we will play it on stream just like this. Al, I hope you're okay. I changed the... I am somebody who cares about aesthetics in my cards. Most of my cards that I like to play with are altered. I'm an altered guy. But when it comes to online, I still like... I like some good looking stuff. So I changed the list that you gave me and changed the aesthetics a bit so we can do this. We like this, though. We like this type of hand. Oath of Allegiance gets a lot better on the play. We have a turn 1 spell. We have a removal spell. We have a Wrath if we get fall behind. It's a great hand. Wooded Foothills, going to assume that we're getting some goblin action going on. We're about to get lackied. Fortunately, the Seal of Fire is going to keep us in this game. Going to get rid of this thing now. We know we're doing it. Not give them any option for any shenanigans. Mog Fanatic is fine. This is exactly the kind of matchup that we want to walk into. Like, all of the removal spells that we have, like, the deck playing 30-plus creatures is exactly where we want to be. We're going to lead here on Oath of Allegiance. This is going to ramp us into our Wrath of God if they play their 3rd land. Now, they don't have to play their 3rd land. They do have a Skirk Prospector, so they can, choose not to play a land here and send it back to us and then, put us to the test because the Skirk Prospector is the action. But I also, if they don't do that, like, I will just, like, play this turn back and forth and bolt the Skirk. I'll let the game be about these Oath of Allegiance. And I do love me some Oath of Allegiance. I actually have, like, a lot of experience, surprisingly, with this card. The action that I've taken trying to make Parfait work after the ban of land tax has led me to this card many a time. I have sleeved up a playset of it, trying to make it happen. It's a lot harder than it seems, but Plow is a great draw. It means that we get to hold up interaction while we pass the turn here. And I think I am interested in just getting rid of this Skirk to cut the action and really, really start leveraging this stuff. If they try and advance any further, we do have the Wrath of God to pick back up. Again, the mono removal of that deck against the all creatures deck, we are happy to see it. So now the interesting question is, do I want to give them the land on the Oath of Allegiance? This is where it's like sort of come back and we need a little bit of action here. I don't know if Seal of Cleansing actually catches anything. I think if I do give them the mana, we can just get to the position where this Wrath of God clean everything up. I think that's better than it's tricky. Oath of Allegiance really wants things like Undiscovered Paradise and stuff like that, maybe layers or something that can pick it back up, because, like, us giving them a card, paying 2 mana to give them a card is bad, but, like, I think we're in a position, like, possible that I wasn't supposed to fire off that Swords to Plowshares on the Skirk. I just figured, like, if the game is going to be about this, but it's also possible that, like, the game shouldn't have been about this. Planar Rebirth really needs some action to help it out. Like, Planar Rebirth is really good in Armageddon-style decks. War Chief is okay. We're going to clean that up. But, like, in a way, I must have misplayed, possibly, like, thinking that the Skirk was the thing to go after, because now this is drawing them 2 cards, and I just didn't need to. But we are going to get a nice little 3-for-1 here. We're just helping them out. I mean, if this Oath of Allegiance is just so good for them, we just, mulligan and spend 2 mana to give them 2 cards. Perhaps Oath of Allegiance shouldn't be in the deck or needs more build around, or perhaps I shouldn't have gone after the Prospector because they had a second pile driver. And so they could operate on 2 mana for a little while. And it was, the onus was on us to act. So it was just a poor position for us to try and leverage it. I just didn't think that they would be able to operate on so low, because so much of their action, whether it's War Chief or Matron or whatever, needs 3 mana. And it just seemed like we were in that space. And we had only had that one other plan. So we weren't really falling behind, because it's not like we were going to make an additional land drop if we didn't draw land. But then we drew the second land. And then we were just in a position where, we were sort of pigeonholed. And now This Oath of Lieges is just doing terrible work for us, and it's on us to click the insult to injury. We have to click the ability that lets them get the land. Seal of Cleansing also in this matchup is just a blank, so it's like we've not only mulliganed twice, but had them draw 2 cards. That was a great draw for us. And that's what we're going to lean into. Draw a card. We'll go to 6. I'm not going to let the lackey hit. This is another one of those spots, like, again, we're seeing some amount of, even, of course, like, this is a weird position because of the Oath of Lieges and such, but we are getting into somewhat of a precarious position where we are able to go 1-for-1 removal, but then something like this can just blank the 1-for-1 removal. And the fact that we don't have a way to go up cards, like this Oath of Lieges is finally going to trigger for us, but it's like we really need some ways, like in the big red decks that Zac has played on the channel before, from our choose target player who controls my list. We've had Eric Higby giving us a couple of donation deck lists about Big Red, and the card advantage there is like Hammer of Bogarden to like go up cards. It's a 4x Thawing Glaciers, and that's just 1-tap draw card. We're seeing that here with Oath of Lieges, but it's possible that Oath of Lieges could just be more Thawing Glaciers. Thawing Glaciers actually works with Oath of Lieges relatively well. Do you want to use this ability? I sure do. Let's get ourselves a second mountain. Goblin Bombardment is a way that we can get back in, but we need creatures for that. So let's deal with one of these guys. Deal with one of these guys. We're on a 2-turn clock. We're going to need something. We're going to need even a Goblin Trenches isn't going to do it, though, because Goblin Trenches would require us, like we're seeing, Goblin Trenches requires land in hand. I'm getting the sense that we're starting to see where the pitfall of this deck is, where it's got a lot of tools, but then it doesn't actually have like enablers for much things. And we kind of need that sort of thing. So let's see if we can salvage that, because this should be a very good matchup for us. Given the amount of removal we have, like this should be a very good matchup. So I think Scroll Rack, I think, is going to get boarded out a lot. It's good early, but like all of our cards should just be good against them. I think the Planner Rebirth is just like not going to fit a lot of these spots. Excuse me. I think that the Phyrexian Furnaces are not something that I would typically board in, but I am okay with it because it does cantrip, and that is interesting. I think without ways to, I think the Replenishes are just going to be soft for the most part. So I'm interested in that. Now it's like, I feel like we're sort of under. It's like, I guess I can put the Scroll Rack in, but I never want to really draw it. This deck really needs a way to go up cards. And unless it does that, like Serra Sanctum with is just sort of going to be really tight here. Like it doesn't have many enablers. I got to be thinking about that when I'm tapping and sacking my Seal of Fires. Oh, this is sacrifice a land, not a discard a land. Okay, so at least that's good. So that's where maybe that's where the Planner Rebirth package is sort of more interesting than Scroll Rack is. I'm going to go down to 60 cards. If I am allowed to do that, am I allowed to go down to 60? Will it let me? Yes. Okay, so I can't have a 16-card sideboard, apparently. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's just like free form that I'm allowed to have a 16-card sideboard like that. I don't know if like I have to. That's a rule that I've never encountered because I've never registered more than 60 cards. We would like to play first. We do like a Kildorn Outpost. We will keep this hand on the back of a Kildorn Outpost, making 1/1s. They're also going to 5 cards. This Humility is going to be a banger. Furnace is in. Furnace will be cycled. Happy to see a Dust Bowl against a Carpulsion Forest. For now, we're just going to play a land and pass. Possible that I should sack there. Just draw a card, maybe some action. But all the removal that we have is, with this, sacrifices our, so exile target card from a graveyard. So I actually need a card in the graveyard to sacrifice this, I think. Why is this saying target player? Yeah, cool. Okay, that's so sweet. I love that. I love a bottleneck like that. That makes the game so much more interesting and cool. Like, I want to cycle it, but I can't because it's not just free. Like, my opponent gets to, like, be like, I'm not going to let you have that. That's fine. Has ported. Port do be portin'. We're going to continue to hit our land drops here. I'm going to play this Totem. I think 4x Serra Sanctum in this deck is a bit steep. We don't really have enough enchantments to make that worth it as a 4-of, as a legendary land. Maybe if you want it as a 1-of. I'm already thinking, like, man, this is, like, tough to support in general, but like as a 4-of, it's like, man, a second copy is just going to be really bad. I get we can Dust Bowl it away, but like it's going to be tough. Battlefield Forge is cool. And I think that is the thing that we put out, and then just slam this Humility. That way the Serra Sanctum is on next turn, and then we can start Dust Bowling. So let's do that. Let's slam this Humility. Cinches are in. I'm not exactly sure what they have. I mean, they're playing the Carpulsion Forest, so they have access to naturalizes. Destroying all non-aura enchantments also works. You get to do that too. Possible with the Dust Bowls, I'm maybe supposed to slow all that a little bit more. Some good experience that we're getting in. Picked up a Goblin King off that Goblin Ringleader. Seal of Fire is reasonable, so I think we'll pay red, Seal of Fire. Now the question is, should we start Dust Bowling? I think we need to just catch up on board a bit, and I think that means that Kildoran Outpost is actually the way it should be. So play this, sacrifice this Plains. Now we're holding up a 1-1 for this Lackey. We'll shoot down this War Chief, get rid of the War Chief, draw this mountain. So they're not going to, unless they spend their turn tapping down something, but then we'll just make a 1-1 in response. So they're just going to cast King instead. Makes sense. We will block. I still am going to block the Lackey, though. Don't want them to get any further ahead than is needed. Wrath of God's a great draw, and there it is. We love that. We love seeing it. So I'm going to just cast this for sure. I'm just thinking about what land I want to put into play now. I think it's just mountain. I don't necessarily want to show them the Dust Bowl just yet. So let's clean it up. Okay, another Lackey isn't all that scary, given that I am interested in using this, though, so I will. Another Humility is good. So since we're not going to have anything to do, I'm going to run out the Sacrosanctum. I don't want to expose Dust Bowl to a potential wasteland. Curious if they'll even, I doubt that they'll even throw this into combat. There's just no need to, but they also didn't play anything, so they're not advancing their board at all. I imagine that they'll just try and tap down the Kildoran Outpost again, but if they do that, then I'm happy to continue advancing my board. This time I'm not going to let one of these cards that seems like they haven't been able to move. I am going to just start destroying compulsion forests. Like if they're sitting on 2 cards in hand and didn't deploy anything, then one must assume that it is naturalized type stuff or another tranquil domain type thing. If that's the access that, like if they're not going to deploy to the board, then I don't feel the need to deploy to the board either. And I'm just happy to sit back and start working on a different axis. Like we don't win the game by taking actions, we will win the game by stopping them. Okay. So they'll be able to get in with that. If they only attack with this, I am going to block it. Like, I think, am I going to block it? Am I going to go to 9? Yeah, I'll block it. Because then I'm going to play this, I'm going to put this False Prophet into play. If I draw land, I can then shoot another land. But I'm okay saving some life total here. It's interesting. I think there's a point where they could have traded this Lackey for this soldier to get in 2 damage, if that was the thing, if they thought that they needed to incrementally get across the board. They do have an out to this. I mean, if they're playing Wasteland, they can fight over Kildoran Outpost. I don't know if they're playing Wasteland, though. I don't know if every list is playing Wasteland. I would assume so, but Battlefield 4 is a great draw. It means we can Kildoran Outpost and play the False Prophet, which we will do. We'll 1, 2, 3, 4. If that doesn't work, I need to go like this because I can need to pay mana for the post. But then that doesn't work, so I'm going to have to take a damage to do this line if I also want to make a 1-1, which I do. And I think that's okay. So I think it's okay to go down to 10. So we'll go like this. Play the False Prophet. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when this False Prophet hits the board? I don't know if there's an out to this guy. These creatures are just sitting. Yeah, come at me, dude. Come at me. Try and come at me. Try and attack me. I will block and then everything goes away. How are you going to get rid of this guy? You should have attacked first. Yeah, that was stupid. I should have made a 1-1 in the end step, but that's okay. I clicked through it because I thought they were going to, actually take some combats. And now it is over. That is game. Game, baby. All right, so let's play around another Tranquil Domain. So we're going to choose a non-basic land. We're going to pay 3, undo. Pay 3, sacking a Battlefield Forge. Getting rid of that thing. They're floating colorless. They're porting. That's fine. It's totally fine. It's not what this game's about. Bombardment. Make your move. Make your move. It's all coming together. The synergy is all coming together. Now this Kildoran Outpost is just going to go the distance, baby. We're going the distance. I will destroy this land using this thing. I just am interested in wrecking your mana base. It's possible that instead of Battlefield Forge, I should have just sacked the Dust Bowl to itself. Since they are out of non-basics now. Onus is on them to figure it out. This False Prophet. Right now, this False Prophet is saying lies. This False Prophet is the current world we live in. The alt-right telling lies to everybody and getting them to follow them off this cliff. Everything is worse for everyone. We're there. They're going to get bombarded with this Gobos. So Goblin Trenches is a great draw. I'm happy to see that because it works with the humility. And once we decide that this game is no longer about Keldoran Outpost, all right, so let's choose any target. We're going to ping them. We're going to sacrifice this guy, exile all creatures. Certainly that's a mistake on my part. I did not need to do this in the end step. This costs 0 mana. I should just take a draw step. That's a punt on me. My bad. Just the stupid stuff. F3D88 is probably laughing right now, saying, what a child. What an absolute child. Goblin Trenches, let's go. Tranquil Domain. Do we want to sacrifice a land to get some action here? I think so. I think 2 mana for a land is more valuable than... Is it, though? Yeah, let's get this clock going. 3-turn clock. This game was great. I think, like, this deck certainly needs some work on making it, draw the correct stuff against the correct stuff. But fortunately, they were baited into bringing their Tranquil Domains because they need to against Humility, but then we have the Dust Bowl to fight over that stuff when they draw multiple non-basic green sources. That was delightful for us. So we ran into it the first time, learned our lesson from it the second time, and now here we are. Oh man, we love a Thawing Glaciers. I do love me some Thawing Glaciers. Thawing Glaciers is the kind of action I can get behind. That's totally fine. They can't activate that guy to shoot it down, so that's just blocking. Sarah's Sanctum. Still not putting out this Humility. No reason to. I see no need to do that. Keldoran Outpost is sweet. Alright, so is there anything that we would want to do instead? So we care about their Tranquil Domain, and that's sort of it. I guess it's possible if we want to say, like, is this better than something? Like, is this hitting? No, this doesn't stop that at all. Maybe Replenish is just better in that sense. If, like, okay, they're going to destroy stuff, then we'll replenish it back. In which case, I'm sort of interested in that. I don't think we have enough action. I'm okay cutting a Sarah Sanctum on the draw. I might be interested. I might be okay cutting 2 Sarah Sanctums on the draw. Because if we really need this humility to just, stick, I don't think we need, like, the big mana after the fact. It's not like the big mana is really just going into this Decree of Justice, which is all well and good. But if we have all of this action plus this, it's just like, I just think that's probably overkill. And I never want to see a second Sarah Sanctum, so I'm going to take out 2 Sarah Sanctum. Might be a bit much taking out 2 lands on with no way to draw cards, but I think it's just more interesting to do that than... At least then if we hit 4 mana at any point, then we have a bunch of bangers in our deck, and if they Tranquil Domain, then we replenish and bring it back. At least it's a counter for that. It's more attractive. Because we're not primarily an Enchantress deck, it is more attractive to just have the enchantment in play than it is to have, like, a burst after the enchantments are already there. Because if the enchantments are already there, then theoretically the game should already be won. It's tough to send back a hand that's got the Keldoran Outpost, and we know how good that card is. Hand just doesn't do anything. Like, it does a turn 2 Curse Totem, but they could just go, like, Lackey kill us. And I just think we have to mulligan. I don't think this is good enough on the draw. Same thing here. This hand is just so too clunky. Happy that this is this instead of a thing, but I think we just got to go down. We got to be playing off the top. It's tough to not draw any interaction on turn 1, though. But again, I think, like, we just can't take no game actions for the first 4 turns of the game and assume that we're going to live. So we'll keep this. And I think we just have to put down the clunky stuff, which is the humility and the replenish, unfortunately. What is Curse Totem actually stopping? It's stopping Mog Fanatic, but it's also stopping Skirt. It's probably better on 5 than Decree of Justice is. But Decree of Justice is a way to actually, like, go up a card. Like, we could trade 1 for 1, and then we trade with the Soldier and then do that. And I think that's probably just more useful than Curse Totem is going to be. Unfortunate, but them's the breaks. Them's the breaks. We have, 3, 6, 8 1-drop removal spells in the deck, and we found one of them for the first time on our multi-4. I just don't think that any of those other hands were actually winning. At least this one has game to some extent, where the other ones we would have just, like, sat back, looked at our hand, died before we actually got to deploy anything. Mog Fanatic, so happy to see that as opposed to Lackey here. Nice to draw the land, because now that we know we're hitting our 3rd land drop, we'll at least get to Decree of Justice to trade for at most this Mog Fanatic and draw cards. So that'll help us recoup the mulligan situation a little bit. This is certainly going to catch the bolt. I would like to be able to use my mana if we can, and I'm not interested in that tagging us for a bunch of thing where we're just trying to live. Oath of Allegiance is interesting. I will cast it because we're not doing anything else, and if they would like to deploy something, we're going to need some help. And it'll help get this Decree of Justice a little bit bigger, so that's nice. This is good. We're learning. This card is much better on moles to 4. They have a Matron. Let's see what they're tutoring for. At least we're going to get to search for a land, which is nice. We are going to give it back, though, I think. I would like this Decree of Justice to cycle and tag an attacker here. And if that gives them a mana, that's totally fine. They're going to Ringleader. So maybe there's the argument that I don't play the land. Bombardment is cool. And it's very good with this Decree. The question is, do we take 2 if they have it, and then we go back on lands? I think I'm just going to make some 1/1s and let them tutor a land here, go into the Ringleader. Bam, but now it's possible that, like, how big is, like, do I sit on this Decree of Justice? Like, are we supposed to? I guess it depends on what the Ringleader hits. They're going to Ringleader for Bajillion. We're learning that this Oath of Lieges in a deck that can't pick up lands is pretty bad. I think we sort of need Oath of Lieges sort of needs like the Gush type effects or a Zurin Orb type effect to just stay underneath. That way your opponent can't just, like, this is Ancestral them in this match in ways that, you know, maybe it's possible that we're able to play around it. They only got the Goblin King, so that's pretty good. So maybe I don't. No, I think we have to. I think we just have to, like, make some trades here. I'm going to cycle this thing. Bolt is great. Get rid of this Mog Fanatic. It is going to, if they, yeah, I was going to say, if they wanted to ping instead, then we get to keep the thing for the block anyway. And that's totally fine. I would happily take that. So, Battlefield Forge. If we draw Goblin Trenches on the following turn, then we will have wanted to deploy this Goblin Bombardment. So, I am going to do that, and then I'll see what comes. Because if they go Goblin King, I'm going to hit the Goblin King with this Bolt. I certainly shouldn't have played the land, though. I just wasn't thinking right there. I definitely should have played the land. That was just stupid on my part. I wasn't thinking about the Oath of Lieges. My head was elsewhere. That was just a punt. I shouldn't have given them that land. All the other times, I think it's like warranted. There was a rationale. That one was just a brain fart. Fortunately, they cutting us off of the land is just going to let us get one back with this Oath of Lieges. They play the Goblin King. That's in. We bolt the Goblin King. We go to 11. Oh, I got to click that every time. I forget. Oath of Lieges requires 2 clicks, 3 clicks. For Oath of Lieges to work, it requires 4 clicks. There it is. That's exactly what we wanted. Hell yeah. Doing this, and we are on. Now we just have to dodge a Tranquil Domain, and they have it, which is unfortunate. They have a Naturalize. Okay, well, we're certainly going to activate this. Let's get rid of a Plains. This is now how we can stay underneath with Oath of Lieges. This is on a multi-4. We're doing really solid on a multi-4. I don't know how we've gotten here, but we somehow have. I am going to preserve life total here. I think that's more important. We're seeing how much this deck really wants to have the Oath of Lieges in here. Okay, so now we're sort of on Wrath of God or Bust. Wrath, here we go. Bang. Nope, Kaldorn Outpost. Not the worst. So now I think we're dead. I think we're just dead. So this is 2, 4, 6, 7. I'm go down to 4, and then they can shoot. There's just no combination. Can block. Okay. Here. Back, but then they just get to sack that token for 2. And then we take down to 5. What a draw step. That was exactly what we needed, but we're still going to go down to 1. So we are not out of the thick of it. It was a really good draw. I think it's still going to be hard. They're certainly going to be able to clear us out at 1 life before we can do anything. We have no life gain in the deck, so we're sort of at the mercy, and there's just so many outs that kill us. Anything haste, any Mog Fanatic, like there's just, it's going to be an impossible circumstance, but that was a sweet draw. All right, well, drawing a land, not great. We're still dead to all of the same things, but we will be able to enable a block. If they draw a haster, we can... No, a haster, the ping on the bombardment won't be good enough. If they have a gem palm, we're dead to that too. Naturalize, can't fight over it. Block. Goblin Trenches is exquisite. Trenches. I'm going to play this land so we can get 3 guys out of our stuff. Oh, that gets a Mog Fanatic and kills us. Fanatic for the win. That was a cool game. This is a multi-4. What a game on a multi-4. I think what we're seeing, though, like, truly is how Lieges is kind of meh unless you have Goblin Trenches, in which case, if you wanted to max this out, I would think that you'd want just way more Goblin Trenches. Like, that card, like, clearly was overperforming for us in the sense that it, like, lets us just convert another resources to go up some number of cards.
This episode of Eternal Durdles is sponsored by Cardmill, the first automated scanner and sorter built specifically for trading card game players. With its intentionally compact design, Cardmill uses AI-powered recognition to identify each card and sync inventory with real-time pricing, batching up to 300 cards at a time by name, set, color, or type. Collection data is securely stored in the Cardmill network, giving players full access to their cards through an easy-to-use web portal. Cardmill supports Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Flesh and Blood, Disney Lorcana, Star Wars Unlimited, and many more to come. Created by software engineer and longtime Magic the Gathering player Jonathan Dumanis, Cardmill launches on July 22nd on Kickstarter with early bird pricing starting at $350. Backers receive lifetime access to all software updates and new features. Go to cardmill.com to learn more and reserve your path to the future of card sorting. All right, we won the die roll again. And of course, we'll be on the play. We're going to keep this hand. We got a lot of lands. We got the glaciers. Let's see if we can make the glaciers plan work, especially with the outpost. Keep. Start with glaciers. Pass. All right. Island, go. Let's get rid of that stop there. That stop's not doing anything for us. We'll play a plains and we will pass the turn. All right. Let's see what happens here. Factory. Okay. We're going to use the thawing glaciers right now, and we will get another plains and untap, and then we will play. Let's play Oath of Lieges and just like make them do stuff, right? We're not even going to play the thawing glaciers out. Okay, that's fair. Okay, if they do that, that gets us. Okay, then we can put thawing glaciers into play and keep doing our thing. And we're still in a card up situation, I think. All right, untap. Then we will play. I don't think Wrath of God is going to be very good for us anytime soon, but let's put let's do this. We're going to do a mountain, and I'm going to play Culminates Outpost, and I'll sacrifice this plains. And we'll just see if that's good enough. Accumulated knowledge for a single card. Thawing Glaciers goes back to my hand. And we will pass turn to my opponent. Glaciers is going to be very, very important here, especially, looking at the almost want to, there's a part of me that just really wants to. Yeah, we'll play Glaciers and then we'll just pass. We're just going to chill on do the Glaciers plan for now. We've got ways to deal with Dreadnought. All right, we're going to make a guy. Making guys. Untap. Let's think about this. I could put a Dust Bowl down, right? Let's not. Let's put a Plains down for now. And I'm going to play a Seal of Cleansing. My opponent's definitely going to counter that. Okay, maybe they're not going to counter that. I'm not going to attack. I don't really care about their factory right now. Okay. I don't love that. But I have more lands in my hand. Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to try and hit that. Yep. Okay. Well, I'm going to get all those back untapped, I think. No? The Stifle. Okay, there's the Stifle. And we'll put a Plains into play. Okay. Wow. Got nothing on that one. That's a bummer. All right. We'll go to our turn. Play land. Pass turn. We might as well, right? Got to get in there. Start doing that damage. Luckily, we have a grip full of lands, so not too worried about that. Another one? Yeah, I mean, if you have a second one, why not, right? We'll keep moving. All right. Going to our turn. I think it's smart. I'm going to drop a Sarah Sanctum because it's not going to do anything for me right now. And I'm certainly not going to attack because I'm just asking to be donked. You can have that. Take a fading counter, right? Okay. I'll take the damage from that. Coming in for 4. Yep. I'll take 4. Well, we're quickly realizing that this deck is soft to Parallax Tide. And unfortunately, Planar Birth is not gonna help us. So I'm not gonna play a land here because if I do, they're just gonna take it right now, and then I won't get it back when they stifle, inevitably. So let's chill with that. Wrath of God, terrible here right now. I feel like this deck will probably be best against other creature decks in the format, but against a deck that just man lands, Wrath of God is just a blank. And Humility is also a blank against this deck as well, because these would come in and be their own things. 12. Untap. Okay, now I can play a Plains and I can pass turn. All right. They got to decide if they want that. All those lands come back. Yeah, there's that Stifle we were expecting. Another one? Factory. You got it. I think I'll block. Happy to buy a turn with that. I'm going to play a mountain, and I'll pass turn. Luckily, I have a lot of... Yeah. Let's make him use counter magic. Sure. Happy to do that. We'll trade card for card right now. There's not much else I can do, so it makes sense to do that. Next turn, I'm going to cast Planar Burst, at least get that planes back, I guess. Right? Okay. Let's put a Battlefield Forge into play. I'm going to cast Planar Burst to just get an extra land. Rampant, they might counter it. Yeah, why not, right? Why not? It's free real estate. So here's the problem now. I mean, I have the bowl, right? Coming in. Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay, we're going to play the Dust Bowl. It doesn't make sense to play anything else. Ooh, okay. What are we doing here? Fact or fiction? Let's Dust Bowl now that they're tapped out. Let's hit that one. 1, 2. And I will hit the mountain, I guess, since I've got another mountain. And they're going to draw a bunch of cards. I don't love that. We'll do it like that. They threw the Dust Bowls in the yard. Oh, Parallax Tide. Okay, we can go to the next game, I think. Let's go to the next game. All right, let's look and see here. We're going to have some Pyros and some Red Blasts for sure. Let's put the... Let's see. I don't know that Disenchant is really where I want to be, but there's a lot of cards in here that I don't need. So False Prophets can go. I think, like, Humility is not good against this deck. Neither are the Wrath of Gods. Replenishes are fine. Don't think we care about Shared Triumph. Think Furnaces are probably better than Seal of Fire. And we'll go from there. Do I have 16 cards on my sideboard? Yeah, I sure do. Okay, so I need to do one other card comes back in. One Shared Triumph comes back in. Okay, we'll be on the play. We're going to keep this hand. I like this opener. We've at least got some counterplay. I almost really want like a Red Blast in my opener, but we'll see. We'll see how we do here. I'm a little scared about having Sarah Sanctum as my opener. Okay, nothing like a second Sarah Sanctum to make you really regret having Sarah Sanctum in your deck. All right, there we go. Untap. Oh boy. Okay, well at least we have the Sarah Sanctum. We've got that going for us. Okay, pass the turn. No one's doing anything. Nice little standoff we're having right now. Lightning Bolt is a magic card I could play. Yes, Impulse is fine. I can even cycle this now. Cycle this Furnace. Sure, I'm into that. I'm going to do this to draw. Okay, untap. I'm going to play Shared Triumph and name soldiers. And then I'll pass turn. Accumulated knowledge for one card. You got it. Keeping the powder keg at 0. Seems like a plan. Yes. I want to play a Seal of Cleansing. Oh, because I have extra mana. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. And we will pass the turn. Impulse. One of the things you can kind of see just immediately is how you're just outclassed by decks that have access to selection. But here we go for a Fairy Conclave. We're going to bolt it. Hell yeah, I'm bolting it. Bolted. Who won't? Gonna counter it? I'm into that. You got it. I'm more than happy to get a Blue Blast out of your hand since I need to find Red Blast. All right. Well, we're passing turn. Okay. Making that a guy. You got it. I will bolt. Yes. And then I will swords. I hate it too. There we go. Hey, I've got another land. Sick. And I am passing turn. This is the spot actually where having Sarah Sanctum is actually not that bad. Okay, there it is. We hate that. Not a lot we can do about it. I'll tap it for mana. Tap that for mana. Yep, I lost it. I will Seal of Cleansing right now. 3 land. I will disenchant. right now. Yay. Still think I'm screwed. Somehow they get everything. There's just no good way to line that up. Play a land. Pass the turn. I mean, on the bright side, no one's doing anything, so there is that. Here comes another one. I'm going to take the 2. I will take the 2. Yep. Untap. Orum's Prayer. We're doing it, fam. Orum's Prayer. Here we go. All right. We got to pray just to make it today. That's my best hammer impression. Wow. Let's do that one and that one. Yeah, I thought so. Surprising, actually. They took the Teferi's response. Uh-huh. Well, I'm going to gain a life when you do that. You're only doing 1 damage to me, so it's not the end of the world for me. All right. Okay, we're going to play a land. Tap for 3. Tap this. And then I'm going to sacrifice this on that. And we'll cast Replenish to get back some Seal of Cleansings. Opponent's like, get out of here with that. Yeah. Okay, they're letting me have it. I'm a menace. So they've got 2 seal. I'll just take the 2. Oh, sweet. Hell yeah. I'll cast Scroll Rack. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. And we're passing turn. We are definitely dirtling, and we have red and white cards in the deck. That is happening for sure. If we get a second Orm's Prayer, we're off to the races. We really needed that Scroll Rack for some selection. I mean, my opponent has a full grip. I have 1 card in hand. There's not a lot that can be done here. Goblin Trenches. I love this. We're going to cast Goblin Trenches and see if we can make it happen. Okay. Sick thing about Goblin Trenches, too, is that, yeah, I think we just want to pass here, right? We're going to pass. They'll probably have like a Blue Blast or something. We have the Replenish. Uh-huh. I mean, we're going to get a bunch of guys next turn, right? We're going to sack both these lands. If my opponent does not, Parallax Tide me. Okay. Sick. Okay, so now all we have to do is chill. We're going to make, what, 8 guys? We might end up oh, no. No! Okay, fine. Well, I do have the Seal of Cleansing, so there's that. Okay. End of turn. Let's tap 5. And we're going to Seal of Cleansing this. And then we will do this. Wait, hold on. Cancel. We'll do this. We'll pay 1, 2, sack a land, right? Right. And then we'll do it again. 1, 2, and we'll sack a land. And let's do it one more time. Okay. Untap. Sweet. Let's attack. Get in with everybody. I mean, this is a best case scenario for me, is to do like 10 over the course of a few turns and like make it happen. There's a very good chance my opponent just like shows back up with a yeah, here's a accumulated knowledge. A keg is just game over for me. Oh, you gonna cast something? I will Seal of Cleansing in a heartbeat. Sure. All right. You get a 2/2, and I'm sealing that. There we go. Untap. I need. Yeah, I mean, I guess that is a play you can make. That seems like not where you want to be. Maybe am I gonna get there with this deck? Oh yeah, Al. Oh no, powder keg. All right, that's not the end of the world. Sick. Okay. So, think we need to attack in. See what they do, right? They blow the keg, of course. Right? Then red, white, boom. You gonna counter it? I feel like you're gonna counter it. Can't be having that happening, right? Yeah, Hydroblast. You got it. I'll lose the rest of my mana. It's okay. All right. Gonna bounce me. I have nothing else to bounce, so I will pass. Brutal. Coming in with the Mishra's Factory. Coming in with the Fairy Conclave. Down to 5. Putting up a fight on this one. Okay, we got another land, which means I can make, what, 6 guys? 4 guys? I think I have to attempt to recast this. The answer is definitely no. Yeah, of course not. and then we'll pass turn from there. That was a chance, at least. We could sneak that through. Okay. I mean, this seems like it's game, but let's at least draw one more card. Counter an outpost. Come on, deck. All right. Looks like they got me. Let's give them the old good game. All right, let's try another.
Okay, well, this hand doesn't do anything, so got to get rid of that. Okay. This is fine, I suppose. We are on the draw, which is when Oath of Lieges is reasonable, so we'll keep this. Send back Humility. Like, even if we didn't want to add more Goblin Trenches, I think it's reasonable that, like, knowing that we're in those positions where we just need to have the cards on board and then enable our resources, that it's a reasonable spot to just play even more Enlightened Tutors just to tie the room together, even though Enlightened Tutor is not very good. So this is a Flooded Strand, so presumably it's a blue deck, which means that we're probably going to have a little bit of trouble because we're going to have a lot of just dead cards in our deck. We're probably holding many a dead card right now. Do I care to run this Oath of Lieges into a mana leak of some kind? The thing is, like, what would they possibly tap out for, you know? I guess we're not missing our land drops at the moment, so I'm not going to just let them use it. I'll try and overload them at some point if it's ever a thing that they care about. If they, like, stand still us or something, okay, Shivan Reef. Interesting. I guess it's possible that we could still get standstilled. They want to ice a permanent. That's cool by me, because now I'm going to stick this Oath of Lieges. I'm not sure that's going to be a relevant thing, but it will draw us a card if they play a land. Imagine this matchup gets significantly better when we can take out cards that don't have text for red blasts, which have tons of text. Wow, they decided not to do it. They're choosing to ice. That's fine. We are under no rush. Thing is like, if we go to discard, that's good. We're discarding stuff that has no text. All their cards presumably have text. And when we've simplified the game down to we're holding a Swords to Plowshares for their no text cards, the cards that have no text. Meddling Mage, what do you want to name, bro? Swords to Plowshares. Cool. It's gonna get bolted. Gonna bolt that boy. Or perhaps we False Prophet. Perhaps this is a spot where we cast False Prophet. Use our manas. If they would like to spend a counterspell on that, great. Absolutely excellent if they want to spend a counterspell on it. That would be fantastic. They can't cast Swords to Plowshares. So this dude is not going to get exiled. What he's going to do is exile other things. Wow, are we about to... This is the prophecy here. Are we about to lightning bolt our own False Prophet and exile this? What a deal. What an absolute deal. Oh, that's sweet, dude. How thematic is lightning bolting a False Prophet? Oh, that's so cool. So cool. Even better, we're going to Seal of Fire. No, wait. Seal of Fire is an enchantment which would be helpful for our Serra Sanctum at some point. So, what would they have? Would we care about anything? Well, they ain't blocking. Bolt. Pass. That was sweet. That was a sweet... happy to have that one in the league. The lightning bolting our own False Prophet. That was cool. This is going to get taken care of by our Swords to Plowshares. They are still uninterested in letting our Oath of Lieges trigger, so they will not advance their board. I'll play out this Seal of Fire. Think about what you want to do. I was, for a moment, interested in a Lightning Tutor right there to get around counter magic, but it's unclear what counter magic they may have. It's probably just mana leak. Depending on what they do, if they want to hold up that mana and port themselves, I'm cool to sit in this holding pattern. If they don't, and actually do deploy themselves, like, okay, they're throwing this right into a Seal of Fire, so whatever the name is irrelevant. Still naming Swords to Plowshares. We need not take any game actions. Still need not take game actions. So now we can actually play around a mana leak here. Let's see what we would even get. What would we get? What is in Donation Decklist Al's deck? It seems like it would be... Goblin Trenches is the way to go here, because that's the only way that we're winning the game. But that would require us getting more lands into play, and I would like them to... I'm not going to give them lands. That's certainly not going to happen. We're seeing some Oath of Lieges tension here. Not sure if we're maximizing it all that great. No need to move right now. They have 7 cards in hand. I can't imagine that they would want to... How much burn would they possibly be playing? Like, the Seal of Fire, it is holding off their Swords to Plowshares, but we don't have any creatures in our deck outside of another False Prophet. And this is 2 mana off on Serra Sanctum, which is cool. We just don't have anything to do with that. Because it's not like we can search up our Decree of Justice. I think I'll just take 2. I know we don't have any life gain, but, like, I'm still totally fine to just not take game actions. I think now, like, Knowing that we're probably going to discard, they have just shown no interest in advancing their board as long as they're ahead. So if we're in this holding pattern, like, they're just going to compel us to act at some point. So I guess sooner rather than later, it's okay to act. Supposedly. Like, are they going to go to discard or are they going to give us a land? I'm happy to go to discard. I think that, like, them getting free cards to deploy whatever it is that they're deploying, if they're holding up reactive stuff, is fine. It's so interesting that we're both willing to go down resources rather than give somebody else a resource. But our lands are sweet. Our lands look sweet. Okay, so they're going to bolt in the main phase to not go to discard. I think I'm interested in casting Enlightened Tutor to see what they want to do. Let's play through a mana leak. Scroll Rack is really cool. We can send back some of these lands. We just don't have a means to shuffle. Goblin Trenches is what's going to get us underneath the Oath. Thing is, our ways to win the game are now exactly Trenches, Kildorn Outpost. Like, we have Decree of Justice as one of, but, like, those are our outs. We're not going to burn them out. False Prophet's not going to go the distance. And they certainly are holding some kind of counter magic. I think we sort of have to draw it out a bit, or we can put the Fear of God that they can never do anything as long as we Goblin Trench, or we can Scroll Rack. And I think Scroll Racking to potentially replace our whole hand is more attractive, because if they fight over Scroll Rack, it's not the thing that's going to win us the game. This is like a passing thing. Yeah, that's nice. That's a cool little thing. They're like, yeah, you can have Scroll Rack, and now we have to figure out how we don't die to them just casting burn spells. Let's rack. All right, great. I think what the line is here, we have Thong Glaciers to get a shuffle, which is lovely, but I'm going to go put all of our lands. I'm going to draw the Humility, cast the Humility, because I want to not let them Lightning Angel again, and we have this Replenish where if they want to fight over this, then we will be a Replenish gamer. Okay, so this is good. Now we don't have to worry about Lightning Angels. It's interesting the presence this Oath of Legions has had. It hasn't stopped us from playing the game. It's just like restricted the amount of things that we're willing to do just because we don't want to let the opponent get another resource, and now it's way worse for them to let us have it than it is the other way around. Run out of Seal of Fire. We know the top 4 cards of our deck are our lands now. Let's run out of Shared Triumph. We're going to name Soldier, because that's Keldoran. No, let's name... do we name Goblin? If we name Goblin, because we have the Replenish, so if we draw that, we're more likely to draw 3 of Goblin Trenches than we are Keldoran or Decree. So because there's just... and that's because of the 1 Enlightened Tutor left in the deck. So let's name Goblin because that's a 3-outer versus Soldier, which is a 2-outer. So we'll name Gobbo, and we're passing. Well, this is bad. It's the slow roll-in of the bolts. We're drawing the Sarah Sanctum now, which is, does make a lot of mana. Yeah, it's also tough. We're in colors that don't have a fetch land for Scroll Rack. Looking for just shuffle effects right now, but certainly not going to... Yeah, they want to use the mana leak. That's fine. I'm not paying. I'm happy to use that when we got to Replenish. We also have the position of Replenish is just 4 mana, 4 damage off these Seal of Fires in the yard. All right, I'm okay to look 1 card down and set aside 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm okay setting aside this Replenish as well. So we'll look 2 cards down. Won't show us anything, but I will put back Plains, Sarah Sanctum, Replenish. We're not Bombardment. Meddling Mage is fine. Casting this Replenish, I want to just take game actions. I want to just put ourselves in a position where they feel compelled to let this Oath of Legions start moving. I do not want to give them more outs. I don't know what could possibly in their deck, but right now they haven't been able to really double spell meaningfully. And if they're just sort of waiting for the combination between their last bolt and then a couple of Fire Knights, if they're on all 4 Fire Knights and then 1 more bolt, that's 7 damage, and we're at 6 life. But now they're effectively at 15. If we start drawing trenches, we can get under the Oath and start really churning through. So I'm going to put back all 6 here. Enlightened Tutor's fantastic. Going to keep the Sarah Sanctum. Question now is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But we can Enlightened Tutor for the trenches. Have them go after that. I think I'm more interested in that than giving them a land right now. I don't think we are under no real issue at the moment. But if we Enlighten Tutor for trenches, we can start playing some stuff underneath with our Oath, make some Gobbos, and then we're slinging for a ton of damage. Each activation will be worth 4 power. And then we may not be in a position to need to do this Decree and give them lands. Like, we can just do it underneath the oath. We don't have to expose ourselves yet. That's fine. Is this oath, can this thing still, like, turn face up? It'll just turn face up into a 1/1. And it's good that they tapped out to do that, because now we get to just land a Trenches. So I'm going to play this Trenches. I think we can play Serra Sanctum, 8 mana, activate Trenches, sack this mountain, make 4/4, Trenches, 2 mana, sacrifice this mountain, 4/4, Trenches, and that's it. That'll do it. So we had a little bit of a plenish game plan there. That was kind of cool. All right, let's see. What do we want against this deck now? We obviously want this. The removal is actually better than I thought because they were playing creatures to poor judgment on their part. Not interested in bombardments. There's nothing that bombardment can trade with effectively. That was a mulligan. Enlightened Tutor was great, of course, obviously. False Prophet is interesting in that it's a way that it helps if we fall behind, especially if they're meddling and some mages. It's unclear to me if humility is all that interesting. I mean, it's good, obviously. Like, I think it's like possible that it's fine as an Enlightened Tutor target if we need that. They didn't show any enchantment stuff that we need to care about. So, like, what would they board into? They board into, like, they're going to board into their own, like, disenchant type effects. So we're probably going to have to lean harder on Caldoran Outpost and such. Wrath of God is also meh. Like, I'm more interested in False Prophet in this space than I am Wrath, because they're not doing stuff that's going wide. I could see Phyrexian Furnace just because, like, if we're leaving Seal of Cleansings, like, I'm sort of more interested in just getting to our key spells faster, so a cantrip is more appealing to me. I see Seal of Cleansing just not being it. All right, I think, like, let's try this out. If this is just, like, way off for some reason, like, Replenish is just to get through Counter Magic. Plan of Rebirth is, like, sort of meh, but, like, we know where we're looking to get to the Trenches. Let's go with this. It'll be tricky. We still have a bunch of dead cards in our deck, I would think, but the Power Blast should help a lot in securing, like, just getting the combination down. The problem is, like, then we would need the Replenish to rebuild. But we'll see. Maybe there's another window like that where we can get off a single Serra Sanctum and make a bunch of Angels. Well, can't play this Caldoran Outpost without another land, so we got a mulligan this guy. We like this one, and we don't need 2 Oath of Lieges, so we'll keep this, put this on the bottom. You know, actually, in reality, it's possible that they would fight over the Oath of Lieges, but I'm happy to have removal spell for Meddling Mage and Red Elemental Blast to fight over a Angel. Seal Fire in play. Hard lock. All right, fam, let's see. Do you want to spend your counter magic? I'm cool if they want to spend their counter magic here. Because the Replenisher is going to pick it back up. I'm happy to just throw this. I don't think this is the game about. This sort of, like, dictated the terms of engagement last time, and it's going to stick. So now they really aren't going to be able to play on just 2 lands. They're going to have to give us some value on this, so that's nice. Like, clear delineation between if we don't have ways to get rid of lands, that the Oath on the draw is leagues and leagues better than on the play, and we're in. So we really are an Enchantress deck. This is sweet. They'll play a land. We'll get a second Plains. And then we'll just start Dust Bowling. Even though Oath of Lieges and Dust Bowl doesn't really have too much utility together, their mana presumably is bad. The decks that have to play City of Brass presumably have bad mana. So they were actually really uninterested in letting us do that. And if that's where they want to be, that's cool by me. I think we are the deck that is okay going long compared to theirs. We can sort of win in one shot. They sort of have to, you know, take some punches across the way. I'm also cool with that. That's also totally fine, because we're going to be able to blast anything. Like, we're rolled up here. We're protected, and then this Dust Bowl is just going to start picking this apart. So incidentally, it's like weird mixed matching of things that, like, are sort of coming together a little bit, you know? So the Seal of Fire is going to have to go with some other rooms because we boarded out our Wrath of God. We do have False Prophet and stuff still. Like, that's still a thing that is possible to do. I'm not going to show this Dust Bowl until we can activate it. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to clip this thing before it can get going. We're now holding up Swords Double Blast. And then on the next turn, we just get to go bowling. It's on, homie. I'm not going to be in a passive bit. Like, I'm not going to activate this until they want to take actions. If they don't take actions, then I'll start going after some stuff. We'll hit the City of Brass, sacrifice the Forge. I'm realizing that I should be sacrificing basics because we have a Planner Birth in the deck, so that's probably a mistake. And by probably, I mean definitively a mistake. Let's go after the mine, cut some blue. So a holding pattern down, but now, like, this Undiscovered Paradise is going to be picking themselves back up. I think pound for pound, our stuff is better. I'm happy that they got rid of the Oath when they did, because this is what would keep them under it. We're also a 26 land deck. I imagine that's a heavier count than theirs is. So if we're just in this holding pattern where this Dust Bowl gets to settle them down, we're settling them down. Bolt is fine. They don't want to go to discard. I am going to get rid of their Undiscovered. That's fine. We'll go past turn here. We're still holding up all of our spells except for the Replenish and the Humility. Hitting land drop just like we drew it up. Play around a Mana Leak here. They haven't shown it. I think they showed us Mana Leak last game if I recall correctly. I'm interested in firing off this Enlightened Tutor right now. Let's get some game actions in while we're ahead. So the appeal is certainly Trenches. I think the appeal is Trenches, and we can back it with a Pyroblast. So let's get the Trenches. And then turn every land from here on out into Goblins while they're going to discard. Trenches. We get to fight over this Mana Leak. I'm going to actually cast the Pyroblast. That way they can't catch us with a Meddling Mage on both, so we have one of each in our hand. Split that up a bit. So now this Trenches is in. They don't have white mana at the moment to fire off a disenchant type effect. Serra's Sanctum is awesome in that it's just a land. So now I don't want to replenish because this Oath of Lieges would get them back into the game, but it would build our Serra's Sanctum. So I think we just pass the turn here. In the event that they draw a white source and can unload a disenchant, we just get to make goblins. We have a Lightning Angel checked. I am going to fight over this Impulse. I don't want them to find a white source, and our win condition is already on the table, and is not, the Pyroblast is not going to be able to stop a thing that would deal with the Goblin Trenches. So let's tap this, Trenches, sack this. Bolt is cool. So while they're stuck, I mean, they do have Fire Ice to like beat this up and turn the, fires get to hit, essentially become wastelands, or strip mines rather, but it stops them from drawing a card, which is also great. So I think we are going to trench, and now this is a 3-turn clock with Bolt. Pyroclasm, yep, that's clean. You mistaken that I'm not in the market to still Goblin. So now we have the win on the table between Bolt, Goblins. So Bolt, this is backed by a Blast, and that would slow the clock by a turn. In which case I would probably let it go. I think it's reasonable to let that go. Sack a Forge, attack for 4, untap, hold up, Blast Plow. Yeah, that's fine. No. Trenches. Top deck Bolt wins the game as well. Plains is also good. We're seeing what I think is the cool part of the deck. Like, I think the Goblin Trenches, like getting the lands under if you want it to be in the Oath of Packages part of it is cool. Like, that's all well and good.
Since you're enjoying the show, please like and subscribe the video. It helps the channel grow.
Support Eternal Dodos on Patreon so we can create even more content and cover events.
Patreon supporters get an ad-free RSS feed. You can even join our deck donation tier to get your very own episode.
Join the Durdle Maniacs at patreon.com/eternaldurdles. Now back to the show.
Okay, we have another one where we're on the play. I don't love this, but we're going to keep it because we have mana. Let's see what happens. We'll start with Battlefield Forge and pass. An island. Nothing but blue decks so far. We will play another Battlefield Forge. Let's toss down a Seal of Fire just to make our opponent nervous. Port. I don't think Port's going to bother me too much. All right. We'll put a Mountain in play. Let's do a Shared Triumph. And name soldiers if it resolves. I like a mono blue deck that's rocking Port, though. Yeah, you got it. Love that. I'm not going to pay the additional. It's countered. Blue deck, rockin' Port. It's a nice way to keep me off of like my 3s and 4s. Okay, then I'm going to pass turn. What we got here? Flash of Insight. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this. 1, 2, 3. And I'll get rid of the mountain. All right, Flash of Insight. It has happened. There is a land. Love that. Okay, untap. We'll play a Sanctum here. And honestly, hit that. 1, 2, 3. And I'll get rid of the Sanctum. They're probably happy to see me get rid of the Sanctum anyhow. I feel like if we can keep them down on land for a little bit. All right, upkeep. I'm going to tap my bowl. No, not tap the bowl. Okay, I'll play this, that. And I'm going to say Orum's Prayer. Got that Force Spike? All right, another island. All right. Only way we're still in this game is if we keep bowling. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, we're going to play this. And I'm going to do the Dust Bowl, targeting that. And 1, 2, 3. And I'll get rid of a dust bowl. And I'll pass turn. Now we can Decree of Justice and start attacking in. Basically, I'm just trying to play land destruction until I can get to a point where my opponent just can't deal with me. All right. Untap. Scroll Rack. I love Scroll Rack. I think I want to just Decree of Justice, though, and make things tough for my opponent. I can Decree for 2 and get a card out of it. Cycling. 2, 3, 4. Right? And I'll pay that. And okay. Waiting for the opponent on this. I will pay the 2. Yep. And I get to draw a card. False Prophet. I don't know about False Prophet. I'm gonna be honest. But we will start attacking in. Let's throw Scroll Rack into play if we can. Oh, amazing. That's a game changer for us. What do you got? Flash of Insight. You got it. There's a Flash of Insight X is 1. Okay, sure. We're in the unfortunate position of not knowing what our opponent is actually up to. But into turn, we are definitely getting rid of 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Done. And we'll do 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. Untap. I will play a mountain. Let's attack. Coming in hot. We can play this, I suppose. There we go. And a 2 white. Why not? Ability. Doesn't affect anyone, probably. So it's basically just 4 mana to go up one more mana in my deck. All right. 7 blue lands. Still don't know what my opponent's up to. All right. I will switch some cards here. 1, 2, 3. Let's do 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, there we are. Attack with these 2 soldiers. Get in with the soldiers. Untap. On the bright side, if our opponent is playing Dreadnought, it's going to be very hard for them to Dreadnought us out. Untap. Draw. Dang. Think we don't really care to have too many more lands on the board right now. I'm just going to keep attacking in. Hopefully we can get there. I don't know what my opponent's doing at this point, so I don't think it makes any sense to continue to commit to the board if an upheaval were to be like the thing that became a thing. That would be rough. Hey! All right, so in a turn, I guess I'll kill that. 1, 2, 3. And sure, we'll hit the Sacrifice of Plains. You got it. Untap. Draw. All right, now let's see what we can do here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, a land. And I guess I'll attack. We're just gonna keep getting in that way, I suppose. Yep, down to 10. Dust Bowl. Yeah. Okay, we got him. All right, let's see if we can find something here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Brutal. All right, we're going to keep getting in there. Coming in. Taking the beats. Let the music play, as they say. Got that Seal of Fire just sitting there being like, is this enough? Hit the Sanctum. You got it. Sanctum down. Okay. Let's attack. Hit him for 2 more. All right. We won't play a land. We're going to rest on these laurels. I'll hit you for 2. Why not? Still don't know what my opponent's plan is. Haven't seen it. All right. We've got a Mishra's Factory just sitting on the board. Okay. Let's swing in. Let's try and see if we can bolt our opponent for the game. 1. Let's keep that one. 1, 2, 3. Done. 1, 2, 3. And we will swords the land, I suppose. Will we get there? I mean, I don't think we're going to get there with the swords the land plan. How about new? Truly trying to make this happen. It's a hell of a stack, though. Got to give it that. We've got a bolt to try and kill, prohibit, swords, counter. All right. You got that off the board. Counter happens. The bolt is stopped. 2 damage. Slings in. I will cast Enlightened Tutor just to shuffle my deck, honestly. What do we want here? Goblin Bombardment? It's pretty good. Oath of Lieges is not that interesting. Trenches is actually brutal. I wish unfortunately, I could play a Seal of Fire and just put it onto the ground again. That's not that interesting, honestly. Okay, Goblin Trenches, untap. Shared Triumph would have been pretty brutal, honestly. I still don't know what my opponent does to win the game. I haven't seen a Parallax Tide yet. But this could be it. This could be the time. There's another damn factory. Intuition, okay. What are you intuiting? Tides. Oh, God. That is rough. It is a Tide deck. They just didn't get any Tides for the longest time. That is just so brutal. Where you going? Nowhere. Here we go. Casting Tide. Guess it doesn't matter. I can't use that. Bro. So bad. Yep, we'll lose that mana. Got it. I'm just gonna give it the old F6. You do you. God. So brutal. Just so brutal. It's not great. Yeah, we're in trouble. Let's go to the next game. Let's not get it twisted. That was probably the best we can really hope to do against a deck like that. So rough. Okay, so let's talk about what we want to bring in and out. These wraths are worthless. Humilities aren't that good. False prophets aren't good. Disenchants are at least something, I suppose. We don't have to play all of them. All right, we're going to go with that. Okay, I think this is playable. We've got some hate, too. I'm into it. Let's keep. All right, Battlefield Forge Pass. Okay, we're going to Enlighten Tutor for an Oath of Lieges. No. Okay. Apparently, we did it for a Oath of Triumph, or a Shared Triumph, which is not the worst, honestly. I think that's actually defensible play. Soldier. And we'll move on from there. I definitely need the lands, though. That was sort of brutal. All right, there's a land. And we'll just keep passing turn. I would kill for a Keldon. Okay, well, saucy. And we'll be passing turn. Think we want that to not be a thing. Yeah. I'm going to counter target blue spell here. Sure. I don't think I have to worry about Black Vice, really. I mean, it might be a concern. Okay. Let's put a rack on the board if we can. We can. Okay. Looking good. All right, I'm going to get rid of all these cards. Yep. And let's do Planar Birth, Disenchant, Swords. Okay, well, I love that we got the Oath. All right, well, let's try and put it into play. I'm sure my opponent's going to be like, absolutely, positively no. So like reading the card. I think that's a terrible thing for you to have in play. Yeah, of course not. Why would you ever let that happen, right? And I think this game would have been a little bit different had we been able to plop an Oath of Lieges into play. Untap. Take nothing. Yep. Draw Oath of Lieges. Play it. Counter it again. All right. It's in play. Let's go. Yeah, of course. Nope. I'm not going to sacrifice land. Oh, God. We're in literal hell right now. There's still a chance. Okay. We'll just have to pass through a couple of turns. Damn. Doesn't do it, really. Okay. Well, we're going to take a little bit of damage. Kind of is what it is. Portent happened. Right. Here we go. Opponent is making guys. Swinging in. Ow. Ow. Yep. Attacking for 3. Fortune, draw, and Black Vice. I'm going to take 1 off the Vice. I have to take the damage. I can't just play a land into the Parallax Tide and hope for the best. So I'm going to be taking some damage here, which is really unfortunate. I don't think we're going to be able to come back from this sort of tempo situation. Even if they give us our land back, we're still in a lot of trouble here. This game could have been maybe saved a little bit from having the Oath of Lieges out, but knowing that they had the bounce spell, I think we still would have been in a lot of trouble. Okay. That's bad. That's not where you want to be. Yep. Okay. Now, we're going to play a land. We're going to trade some cards out. All of them. We're just going to trade everything. All the cards. We've already lost. Let's be honest. Let's just see what else we could have had. All right. Yep. And that is game. We'll give it up. End turn. 3 games. No game wins just yet.
But I think that part of the deck is really where we're doing some interesting, powerful things. And I think I would like want to maximize that and then see if there's ways where it's like, okay, well, if you have additional copies of enchantments, is there anything you can do with it? The Planner Rebirth, like style, the space of like, okay, let's sack a bunch of lands, put a bunch of lands back into play, use that as the sort of value engine. I think that's where we've been doing the most powerful things so far. All right, what does this hand look like? It's got our manas. It's got removal early. It's got this Orm's Prayer. If we get run over, we're keeping it. We got an answer for something in Seal of Cleansing. This is live. Lands and spells. Bloodstained Mire. What comes out of a Bloodstained Mire, I pray tell? Swamp. Swamp pass. Fetch, swamp pass. What? All right, we'll play a Plains. I have to assume that Bolt may not be the way where Swords to Plowshares might. Chain of Smog, target me. Okay. We will discard the 2 things that we can replenish back. Any order. I don't wish to send it back. No risk, no reward. Straight up, just cleaning 2 for 1. Maybe I should have dumped the Sarah Sanctum instead there. But I mean, the Chain of Smog deck, the mono black Chain of Smog deck. Okay, we got red. Red black chain. Target opponent discards a card at random and then discards a card. Okay, so we're just going to be playing Hellbent, which means our replenish type stuff, type effects are going to be where it's at. Thawing Glaciers is sick. I don't want to lose Thawing Glaciers to a Stupor though, so let's get the Glaciers down. This is excellent because this is just 1 tap, draw card. Need more Thawing Glaciers in our life. So if a card says discard, means business is interested. All right, well, I'm going to play the Battlefield Forge in the event that this Plains gets discarded for this Planner Rebirth. Return this to hand at the beginning of the next cleanup step. So I'm going to do this in their end step so that I can replay it on the following turn. If they hit Planner Rebirth, shucks. If they hit Plains, they just gave us a Rampant Growth. Hell yeah. Dudes will look at that Plains getting discarded off the Hypnotic Spectre and just go, hell yeah. All right, question is, do we run it back? Do we roll with it again? We rolling with it again. Yeah, we came here. We came here to gamble. We're gonna gamble. We're gambling. Gimme gambling. We won the coin flip last time. We'll win it again. Let me put this back where it was safe. Come on, baby. Come on now. Hell yeah. Guys will look at the mountain getting discarded off that Hypnotic Spectre and just go, hell yeah. They're gonna get in the comments and they're gonna go, hell yeah. If we draw another land, we now we gotta commit. We gotta commit. So if we draw not land, then we'll fire it off. But man, if we draw another land, we just got to roll it back for a 3rd time. Do these come into play tapped? No, they come into play. It's okay. It's okay. This replenish would get back a Seal of Cleansing and an Orm's Prayer, which would give us some amount of life. Is that more valuable than lands? Is that more valuable than lands, guys? Like, is that going to be more valuable than lands? Is getting 2 more lands. What would we draw to? It would be like trenches, but this flies. 2 more lands is better for. Maybe this is going to buy us more time. Set up future Sarah Sanctums. It's tricky, boys. It's tricky because I also want to be able to Thawing Glacier. I can't Thawing Glay. So, man, Battlefield tapped. This is dealing me 4. I think the Planner Rebirth is just the better line because then I'm actually building towards something, right? We're building towards something. And we got to build towards something. I guess the other thing I could have done was like coin flipped again with the Thawing Glaciers and the replenish. But like, man, if anybody knows who I am, like I certainly value Thawing Glaciers way more than I value replenish. Like replenish can suck it. Thawing Glaciers is my boy. Look at this, hold priority, activate Grim Lavamancer, hit you for 2 before the hippie connects. And that, hit the replenish. If I got future replenishes, you gotta go after the enchantments. Hit the Planar Rebirth. This is haphazard. What is going on? Going after the Source of Plowshares, leaving the other stuff, tapping out. You're tapping out, just letting me. What if I draw Replenish now? I may very well draw Replenish. Oath of Lieges. Oath of Lieges is bad when I've been thawing glaciers. So that's 1, 2, 6, 8. I don't want to give them more manas. I guess I discard this card. It's a shucks against if I draw Sarah Sanctum, but I'm not about to let them get lands every turn because I'm thawing. I'm thawing out. So Scroll Rack is a dead card. Replenish is not going to be a dead card. Trenches would be sort of good, but like they got a flyer. We need a Wrath of God is what we need. We're going to need it this turn. We need one of those effects exactly right now. We got a lot of them. We got a lot of those effects, and we're gonna need one. We got a lot of them, and we're gonna need them. Boom. Replenish 1 knit. 1 knit that one. Not that time. Replenish 1 knit that time. All right, so what do we do against this deck? I guess Cursed Totem shuts off Grim Lavamancer and Withered Wretch, which I guess keeps our replenishes going. We like a cycle. Seal of Cleansing, they didn't show us anything, but if they have Engineered Plague, then they put it on Goblin, then we need the Shared Triumph, and that's going to be a lot. Otherwise, everything else is kind of bad. But let's see. They're playing a lot of creatures. We like all of our removal. Orange Prayer plus Humility is a way to lock it up. So, do we want the Furnaces? Do we want the Totems? Is Seal of Cleansing better than Totem? Maybe Totem is not worth it since they're still just going to get to attack. Goblin Bombardment is bad against the 2/2s. I don't want to draw Naked Sarah Sanctum. I should have probably taken out Scroll Rock, given that, like, if they're going to spend the first 3 turns making it so that we never have a hand. I should have also assumed that they're on, like, maybe they're on, like, Rack. In which case, the disenchant effects are pretty attractive. It says no white mana. This has a Trenches and a Dust Bowl. Maybe I should have taken out Dust Bowl. I'm not going after their mana. Right? Wait, am I going after their mana? Maybe I get rid of Profit. No, I want to keep Profit. This doesn't get hit by duress. This does get hit by duress. I'm going to get rid of this thing. It's a bolt that keeps us alive. I think we just go after... We'll Dust Bowl later if it ever comes down to it. Yeah, so should have brought in Disenchants. So we have learned. Should have thought about that. Should have thought about Curse Scroll. Yep. Should have brought in Pulverize, turns out. I'm getting the Trenches down ASAP. We might just be in the space where it's like we just go full on, like I pay my thing. Sack land, make 4 1/1s. Just get into it. Losing the land there was a critically bad juncture for me. I'm going to get rid of the Scroll Rack because we're never actually going to get to rack for anything. All right. If they do anything that causes me to discard the bolt, I'll just fire it off. And then we'll start getting in the trenches. Spectre will eat this bolt. I think, like, given that we have 0 card advantage in our deck and are just going to be playing off the top, that we are never going to be able to play at our narrative. Like, this game will be dwindled down to nothing, and we will just never actually be able to operate. So we just have to kill them before the Scroll Rack can start, checking us in any way. So I will be sacrificing my mountain to these trenches at the end of their turn, regardless of what they do. I mean, unless it like just shields the game and it's lights out, which is also possible. But we are not going to do any better sitting around because the rack is on their side about it. Lavaborn Muse is going to eat this Swords to Plowshares, which is nice. They're just giving us targets, which is good. I would love to just draw land now. Dust Bowl is good enough. So we'll have a 4-turn clock on the following turn. They're down to 2 cards. It's possible that we just get to run away with the Trenches. An Oath of Lieges in this position would be crazy because that is the combo. 2 mana, 2 1/1s every turn. Only took us 5 mana worth of enchantments. They have a Terminate. Okay, so they can kill this 1/1. So now our plan is just going to be we have to keep drawing land. There's a world where, like, if we drew another white source, that we don't sack a land so we can false profit, but then they just kill the false profit, exile our tokens. Bolt is good. It's not as good as a land, but it's good. The question now becomes, we go to 9, put them to 6, cut ourselves off of white spells, but they're also drawing only 1 card a turn, assuming that means that they're going to use it to kill a 1/1. Before they deploy it, they showed us a Lavaborn Muses, which they aren't going to cast, which is good for us. I am going to hang on to this bolt for this muse. So close. Should have hung on for a turn, but I don't think we can. I don't think that there was like, if we top deck Oath of Lieges, we don't make the goblin, because then they just stick the goblin. We don't make any goblins and take the pressure off. They would kill our one goblin. We then wouldn't have the mana if we were using the bolt on their Lavaborn Muse to then make more goblins, so it would just give them way more turns than like us just drawing another white source. It also is going to keep us out from under the rack. They played the land. I want to do this. If I draw land, I'm okay taking the damage, because if I draw land, I'm going to want to Oath. And if it's not a white source, then I'm going to want to sack it to the trenches. They're spending their turn curse scrolling down a Gobbo, showing us a Withered Wretch. We're going to need to draw a white source solely to get that off the table now. We are in the position of needing a white source. White source. Realizing that if we get a game 3, I'm just going to board out all of my 4 drops for the 2 drops. Because all the discard just makes it so you have to play on such low resources. Bang. All right, so now the question is, do we Oath? I think we Oath before we Swords, yeah? Because we can just attack through this thing. Let's Oath. If we survive that, we get a mana to both plow and then go trenches. I am getting in. I want to nickel and dime as much as I can. I will say, Al, while this deck, I think, like, certainly needs some massaging. The game plan of this sort of stuff is cool and fun and interesting, and a lot of cool decision points. It's like when we get to do the stuff that the deck, like, clearly, like, what it seems like you've set the deck out to do, it's super sweet. And then it's just like, okay, I just want to now streamline getting to do the sweet thing every time. I'm doing like consistently the sweet thing. I mean, the coolest play is bolting with False Prophet for sure. But like, this is really where the bread and butter is with these trenches and, you know, Planar Rebirth to build back lands and stuff. More ways to sack lands to make this good. So I was thinking for a second if I do want to spend the Switch to Plowshares on this Withered Wretch, but because we're both top decking, I think that's just like, that is indeed the I understand that it puts them up 2 life, but like, then getting in, they're going to have to spend mana to get rid of this goblin. Then we're going to make 2 more goblins, then untap, and we'll have access to make 4 goblins. Pay 1 life. At the beginning of upkeep, that player sacrifices a green or white permanent of their choice. Okay, so that's just going to tax our goblins, because we are not going to be sacrificing our Oath of Lieges while it's fueling us. And they have to pay 1 life during each of their upkeeps in order to maintain that. So that 1 life is not going to get around the fact that this soldier tax land is just going to continuously be our best draw. We are under the rack, so we have to be mindful of that. They want to pay a cumulative upkeep, go to 5, deal with a token, but then that will not work on the phone. They'll just have to sack it on the following thing if they want to do that. I think the answer is yes. They do it since they're going to take the damage regardless, and it gives them a body. They have to kill this goblin, and they have a Withered Wretch. Exile stuff in the graveyard, all good. No, that's relevant. 4/8 do not matter. I feel like this False Prophet just being our companion here has been like, you know, never touching the board. We are down to 6. I would like to use this ability. Humility. Humility means that this trades. Yeah, because I don't want... This is going to trade... If I make 2 1/1... If I make 4 1/1s, this goes here. 4 1/1s, so I would have 7 1/1s. Here goes to 4. This kills... Cumulative upkeep is gone, so that's not a relevant thing. Block, he attacks because he wants the rack, but then he would lose that race. So I think the energy is still just attacks, and also having a card in hand is better to not take damage from rack. Blocks go to 4, and we just pass turn. We are just mono trenching. We are just in these trenches, just forever in these trenches. Dystopia is pretty sweet though, pretty sweet. Premodern is the only place that isn't a dystopia though, so. All right, what do we got? Gonna shoot a token. Oh, he's shooting me. Shooting me. Shooting me. Yes. All right, well, you're gonna hit Humility. You're dead on the crack if you swing. So you can't swing, but then also you can't block. What a game. Gonna block, send a message. Gonna take 2. I'm a False Prophet. Goblins. Goblins. I'm a goblin player. No, it happens during my upkeep. They were the better player.
Eternal Durdles is proud to be sponsored by Moxfield. Moxfield is the best Magic the Gathering deck building website on the internet. You can create, share, and find decks from Commander to Legacy and even fan-supported formats like Premodern and Old School. You can see all of our decks on our Moxfield. Follow the links below to stay tuned. Winning the die roll yet again. All right, this seems okay. We have some interaction early, and we have some late wrath effects. So we'll keep this and see what happens. Start with the plains and then pass the turn, right? All right, we'll play a land and we will pass the turn. Opponent goes forest. Oh, I might have a chance here. Untap. I'm going to bolt our friend here. We might have a chance against a elf deck. Querying a ranger. You got it. Llanowar elf. Yes. Untap. Let's get a land. Oh, yeah. There we go. We're going to play a land and pass. Drop that Wrath of God. Survival of the fittest. We don't love that. You do hate to see it. I have answers for that. So it's not the end of the world, but it's not where you want to be. Let's Wrath. Actually, let's play this guy. Let's just play this dude and be like, yeah, get funky. It's like we're activating the survival, getting rid of a Multani's Acolyte. Probably going for a squee. No, an anger in the yard. Okay. Anger hits the yard. Squee Goblin Nabob. Squee hits the yard. Yavimaya Granger for some land. Untap that for a Yavimaya Granger. There you go. Little Echo Sitch. Gonna go get a land. Put that into play. Hey, there's your mountain. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'll block. Why not, right? Exile everybody. Okay. I'll play a land. Let's play Goblin Trenches. See if we can make this work. Opponent has another land in hand. We know that. There is a forest in hand. There it is. All of their stuff has haste. We got a trample 2/2. Watch out, guys. We got a badass here. Untap. Well, let's toss down Orange Prayer and then pass turn. I'll swords him. Why not? Okay. Untap. Sarah Sanctum. Love that. We're going to start coming across pretty soon. I've got a lot of land. They've got a lot of mana. Okay. Not attacking. All right. Well, I guess we'll just pass turn here. Another land. Survival. Okay. Hasn't been putting Squee back in his hand. I'd be using survival every turn, man. Oh, maybe they did put Squee back in their hand. Okay. Priest of Titania. Okay. You got it for each elf. Yep. I'll take 2. Untap. Play a land. False Prophet. Such a weird choice, but I like it. I like making my opponent have to work around my False Prophet. Just a classic bulk rare from Urza's Destiny. Survival. Wall of Roots goes into the yard for a Priest of Titania. Oh my gosh. So we can produce. All right. Okay. Now we're talking. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass turn. Put another +1 counter on this guy. Return Squee, Goblin Nabob, Quirion Ranger. Okay. We got 3 mana for an Acolyte. Acolyte draws a card. Quirion Ranger. Drop in Kaisa. Legendary Druid. All other green creatures get green creatures you control get +1/+1. Okay. There is the Deranged Hermit. Whoa, what's happening? A morph. Unmorphing. Untapped target creature. I do hate that. I do hate it. Oh no. Oh no. This is so bad. Okay. I definitely think that my best bet is to get rid of this, right? Then that happens. Nobody has first strike, right? That would be so sick. Okay. I've got a block. I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah. Take the rest. I think I just survived this. Nice. I am still alive somehow. All right. So cycling. I got there. Somehow I got there. Ridiculous. All right. Let's get those. Of course, the curse totems have to come in. Oh, and my opponent conceded. We got one. There you go, Al. You said what was the answer? Getting people to concede is a win. We got one. All right, we have yet again won the die roll. Jeez, man. We're gonna keep this. Start with a plains and pass the turn, and we will do a battlefield forge. Let's throw a goblin bombardment into the mix here. Oh, we on that force spike. What? Got me on the force spike. We'll play a mountain and pass turn. We've drawn a Swords to Plowshares. Okay. Opponent goes for accumulated knowledge. Oh god, are we playing another 3 leagues of Parallax Tide deck? So brutal. Okay. An Adakar Waste. They're looking a little bit different this time. we're going to put a humility into play. I think we just need to run stuff out against this opponent. Now, if you're a Phyrexian Dreadnought guy, you're probably like, yeah, humility stays, and then I bounce it after I cast my Phyrexian Dreadnought, right? Nope, I got forbidded. Oh, forbid with Oath of Druids and Spike Colony. Okay. This is not the deck I thought it was. We got some sort of a Bant control list going on here. This is exciting. Goblin Trenches. All right, now the time has come. Impulse. All right, we've got a Flooded Strand for another island. I'm going to cast Orum's Prayer, I suppose. Opponent's like, I see what you're doing, and I don't necessarily approve, but I'm not really worried about it. Fact or fiction? You can have that. And all right, we're doing like that. You either get land or you get spells. And the opponent chose land. Can't blame them. There's the Oath of Druids. Okay, I'll play a land. Man, do I just rip off a replenish right now? Let's do it. Replenish. Damn. It's fair. Totally fair. All right. Not too worried about a treetop village. I can deal with that. I will just keep casting humility over and over and over again. You got it. Counterspell. Okay. And we will hit a treetop village and a force spike. You got it. Ripping me down. Killing me softly. And no attack. Oh, it's brutal. You have 6, I have 5. Oath of Allegiance hits the board and stays. I'll take the 3 this time for sure. Gain the 2. Or gain the 1, I should say. We're both oathen. Hell yeah, you wish to use this ability. Yep. Are you aching? For some bacon. All right, let's make some guys untap. Oath, choosing that opponent. Saying yep. And I'm going to go ahead and say yes. And I'll put a land into play. And can I attack ever? Okay. See what my opponent can do from here. Wrath of God. I mean, that's something, I guess. Untap. Attack, 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 attack. Coming in. Yep. Mill till you get some nonsense, right? Morphling. Not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. You got it. On tap. I will play this. I'm going to cast Goblin Bombardment. Yeah. I bet you don't want that in play. There's the forbid. This is me attacking. Just got to keep swinging in. Going to hit another Oath target. There we go. At least it doesn't get a land, right? Spike Weaver. You got it. I'll take the damage. I'll take that 3 damage. All right, end turn. I'm going to cast. Here we go. I'm casting False Prophet. You can't handle it. This might be the best trade a False Prophet could ever possibly get. I will swing in. I will be attacking. Yeah. Rough. Well, you can't win them all, right? All right. We'll get rid of that. And we'll tap these 2. And we'll get rid of one of those. Untap. You got more land than me. Yes. I mean, this is the engine, I suppose. This is what we're trying to do. All right. Attack with everybody. Prevent all the damage. You got it. Seal of Cleansing. Feels late. Oh, okay. Wrath of God. No, they had it. Damn. All right. Back into this hell that is our existence right now. I don't think they have anything else in their deck. Oh, Spike Feeder. Well, that's not great. Yep. All right. I have like 1 or 2 more chances here. All right. We're coming in. Huh? And then I did 4 to them. Okay. So we trade off at 4. Think if I can't Wrath the board. So proccing the Wrath is probably not the greatest situation here. Yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Okay. We're going to go to the next game. I think we can see that this is not going to work out for us. That forbid is rough. We played through the forbid as much as we could, but we need to bring in Red Blasts. We need to bring in Cursed Totems. I think Furnaces are fine here too. Let's bring in Disenchants. Okay, now, we don't need Bolts. I honestly don't think we need Swords against this opponent. Humility is interesting, but not necessary. A False Prophet's not necessary. Wrath is okay. Replenish is fine. We can get rid of all the swords. Oath Legions I like. Shared Triumph as a 1-of is fine. We're going to go 1 less Cursed Totem. I don't know that Orum's Prayer is doing anything for us here. And we'll drop 1 Humility. We'll drop 1 Wrath and keep the Humility. All right, we're going to try it like this and see if we have a better situation against our opponent here. All right, won the die roll. All right, we're going to keep this with an early Oath of Lieges, a Pyroblast. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Maybe we'll even lead with Shared Triumph, and we can Dust Bowl our opponent out of the game as well. With the Oath Plains play and go. Okay, so then that's auto Oath of Lieges. And Bombardment puts me in a pretty sweet situation where they have to deal with the fact that I have one for the rest of the game, and I can just they'll never have to worry about proccing their Oath. All right, so we know that much. We'll play this. I'm gonna cast Oath of Lieges with Pyroblast backup. Okay, opponent's gonna get a land. Accumulated knowledge. End of turn. You got it. They're going to get a land with Oath of Lieges. If they play a land, then I get to go get a land with Oath of Lieges. If they don't, we're cooking. Okay, hit that. 1, 2, 3. I'll put that in the yard. You got it. Okay, we'll play a Scroll Rack, and I'll pass turn. Love that. I'll pass turn. Let's do 1, 2, 3. Yep. And we will do it so that it's 1, 2, like that, and 3. Go. Untap. Shared Triumph. Soldier. Nice. Okay. I love that the Oath of Lieges is like kind of controlling the game. We're both not playing lands in anticipation of the opponent playing lands. So it's kind of great. They obviously have lands in their hand that they just are not able to play. Yep. The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. It's right outside your door. Now testify. Go get some cards back. Draw a card. Sure. Choose you. I'm going to draw some more stuff. Yes, sir. I'm going to get more cards. That's how this whole thing works. Then I'm going to play Goblin Trenches. Ooh, I do not have the mana for that. Okay, let's do it like this. Let's go ahead and Scroll Rack. And we're going to put back 1, 2, right? Like that. Okay, any order. Doesn't matter. There we go. Okay, now we're going to play this. We're going to play 3 for a Goblin Trenches. Counter target spell if it is blue. Yes, it's happening. Okay, my dude is going to get a land. It's totally something that gets to happen. All right, we're going to make 2 guys, I think, for sure. Untap. That's going to go on the stack. I'm going to choose. I mean, wait, 1, 2, 3, that's 6, and I have 5. Yep, great. Come on, deck. Yes, now. I am going to pop that. 2, 3. Where did that go? It's me 5, right? Okay. Then I can play this and make that, right? Seal of Fire, right? Then 5. 1, 2, sack a land. 1, 2, sack a land. It's okay. Fact or fiction? Let's do, Phantom Nishiba and the green source went to the yard, right? Okay. Swords, you got it. Okay. Untap. Naturalize. What are you targeting? Okay. I think that's fair. Powder Keg. Nothing I can do about that. You got it. Keg it up. Keggy. Play a land. I'll attack. Blow in the disc. You got it. We're going to put Cursed Totem into play. And pass turn. Accumulated knowledge. You got it. There we go. You got to draw some cards. Drawing cards. I'm going to make a bunch of guys. My opponent gets to draw a bunch of cards. I'm going to untap. And in we go. Okay, so we're going to swing in. Here we go. Beats. Run it up. Okay, let's play Humility. Can we get there? Impulse. I hate it, but it just might have to work. Opponent has to find a powder keg. And even then, it's like, you're just going to have to get through so much gigantic nonsense. There's the keg. All right. Untap. Keg happens. We have 2 red blasts. All I need to do is produce mana. Think that we want to say no to that. Probably. Okay. Spike Weaver is hitting the board as a 1/1. We're doing it. I'm a maniac. Will it be good enough? Here we go. We're going all the way in, guys. Yep. Okay. Yep. I lose the other mana. All right. We're attacking. It's a happening. We did it. We won a game legitimately. Got there. Woo! Goblin Trenches might be a 2 of here. And maybe bring Humility down. Maybe bring the Wrath down. We're going to keep the Humility in. I'm also going to take out a Disenchant and put in another Curse Totem. I think we're just better off. Like, if we can get Curse Totem out, my opponent's ridiculous creatures just don't have as much oomph. And maybe bring in Swords over a Planar Birth. What did I just take out? Oath. I think the Planar Birth is cute, but it's not really ending the game for my opponent. Maybe that. And, oh, okay. Let's see. Well, I like this. I think this is a great way to start. So we're going to keep Plains Pass. Okay. I'll play a Mountain. Oh, Seal of Fire here. Okay. Trading it off. Now, okay, good. So now I can play this Plains and I can touch down with a Phyrexian Furnace. Yep. You're going to get 2 cards out of that. Do that now. And I think the smart play here is just drop a Seal of Cleansing now. And pass turn. Okay, hold on. Think on my turn. No. We're just going to hold. Yeah, we'll play a Battlefield Forge. And from here, we're just going to pass turn. If we can resolve this Humility, we're in great shape. Impulse resolves. This is a situation where the Humility actually sets my opponent's deck on fire. And they don't really have a lot of great ways to deal with it. Like, Humility's fine. But the counter spells, like, we have to basically protect our Humility. And there's several ways for us to do that. Sick. Okay. Draw and play Oath of Lieges. The Lieges is sneaky good. And I think here we let our opponent counter it if that's the case. Right? Pass turn. Dust Bowl is rough. Right now it's rough, at least. Okay. I will choose him. And I'll say yes. And I'll say Mountain. Right? All right. We're going to cast Humility. Can I get away? Oh, Humility hits the board. Okay. Yep. That's fair. Pass the turn. We have to pop that. Man, I really would love for this game to be able to continue through the turn. And then I will pass turn. Could Enlighten Tutor. The thing is like, we just know my opponent has, yeah, there we go. Guess we'll get rid of that, right? We'll dump that. Yes. We're really on the soup here. This is kind of a testament to what this deck can do if the opponent is on a creature plan of any kind. It's rough against decks that are playing. Spike Feeder is just a 1/1, so that's fine. We could even hit it if we wanted to. Toss a Curse Totem down. Pass the turn. All right. I'll take the 1. End of turn. Enlighten Tutor for Goblin Trenches. I'll play it. You're going to counter it, right? Yeah. No way you let that in play. Man, this is a bummer. It's going to end up going to time because I am hyped to see what my opponent can pull off here. Taking the point. Goblin Bombardment. Shuffling cards into my deck, huh? There we go. Spike Weaver, you got it. Getting that land. 1, 2, 3. 1. Tackleberry here. Yarp. Yep. Coming in. Ouch. All right. And pass turn. Oh, shit. Yep. You got it. All right. Oh, no. No. All right.
I was a poor, sad player right there. Didn't get it. Didn't quite get it. So if I recall correctly, I was round 5? Round 3? Is this round 4? Man. Sweet deck. Should have realized Thrak was during my upkeep. They were the better player. They deserve the win. Feels fine. We're keeping. We're mono way. We're a false prophet deck. Wow, you lived for Sarah's love. Will you not die for it? Wow. That is some deranged stuff. But Eric Peterson with the art. Come on now. Come on, look at this. Look at this art. This is great. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this thing. All these seals, people just cracking cookies and then blowing shit up in all these seals. Every seal, it's just like, look at this cookie, look at me break it. Super sweet. All right, Cobra, where you at, bruh? All right, and we're off. They have mulligan to 5. We're holding up Swords to Plowshares. They play an island. We may have a lot of dead cards in our hand. I don't think I need to show them Mountain yet, but I will make them consider slowing down if they're on Dreadnought. They're on Blue-Green Madness, unless there's another blue-green deck, or they're brewing. I'm a fan of the rack. Scroll rack, and you gotta play an 8-rack deck. Play the rack and scroll rack. 8-rack. I'd be interested in racking for 4. All right. So I don't want the Prophet, don't want the Wrath, don't want the Swords. Take another land. Caldoran Outpost, my favorite thing going on. This card's been so sweet. It's been really good. I've actively wanted more of them. Naturalize on my rack, but I know all the cards on the top of my deck. But I think we can go one deeper. That one deeper was not great. All right, looks like we're just Caldoran Outposting for a bit. And so the game begins. Caldoran Outpost. I just got my impulses altered, and I'm very excited to play with them. They look great. Still unclear what we're playing against, blue-green impulse naturalize. If this is a known quantity, it's beyond me. I can't identify this deck based on these 2 cards alone. With this mana base, suggested that it's sort of like a blue-green, we're about to, get run into the 4/4 or whatever, but we got the Swords to Plowshares to deal with that, or they just don't have it. Maybe Factor Fiction is about to happen. They get Foft, or they're just not going to spend 5 mana. Okay, now they got a Horn of Greed. Should have been sandbagging my lands. Okay, is this deck like time walking and stuff? I certainly want to draw a card before we Seal of Cleansing to get rid of this Horn of Greed. When an engine is online, I'm happy to turn off the engine. Got a Time Walk? Time Warp. Right. So they just got to explore there. Oath of Druids. Well, that seems bad for me, doesn't it? I do have these 2 Swords to Plowshares, though. I mean, how bad could it be? They Oath, we Swords. They mill a bunch of cards. Okay, so one assumes they hit. Put 3 cards on the bottom of the activated on once this turn, only once if. Okay, so they will gain 3 life. Put 2 cards back, or 3 cards back. Counterspell. Counterspell. Okay, dub Counterspell. That's fine. They care about this. Battle Mage Summoner. Battlefield Summoner. Battlefield Scrounger. They care about this Battlefield Scrounger. They want to just take all the turns. It doesn't tell me what lands, what they put back. Doesn't say what they put back. Well, that's unfortunate. I'd like to know what they put back. So now, if we go Wrath, we can then still make a dude. If we False Prophet, that stops them from just taking infinite turns potentially. It's probably safer to just Wrath. This way they can't just put... I'm sure that they put the Time Warps back. I mean, there's one Time Warp here, but there's got to be something where it's just okay, take the turns over and over again, cycle them over and over again, do that forever, and then just beatdowns. Super sweet. Yep. What is it putting back? Maybe they didn't put back anything, and that's why... No, it's a requirement. Put 3 is part of the cost. It just doesn't say what they're putting back. There's no way for us to know what is being put back, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate for us. Now, there's a world where we just don't let the Oath trigger and then just start racking and looking for trenches and or Decree so we can instant speed kill them in one shot. So they're putting back the Battlefield Siege, the Horn of Greed, and that's it. Okay. Time warping. Okay. They got something big. They're time warping again. Okay. They're just taking turns. Taking turns, not doing anything with them, but they are taking them. They're taking turns to take those turns. And they're gushing and plushing with their gushing, and that is it. Now the question is, do we want to actually do that? Maybe the plan is we just rack. Oh, we can replenish and just clear the way. That was a great draw. Let's replenish. Unless they got a counterspell. Makes sense. Then we'll just go back to what our plan was. We're racking. Rather than let them druid. At some point they will draw the druid, which is, all well and good. Their draws are going to be better than ours, given that they have sculpted their library. Bombardment is not very good. All right, so let's put back the Prophet and the Planar Rebirth. Okay, not moving at the moment. Now we shall rack for 4. Seal of Fire. Goblin Trenches is exactly what we were looking for. We'll just have to play around a removal spell. But we don't need the Prophet, Planar Rebirth. We are interested in the Bombardment. Let's see if they want to fight over a Seal of Fire. They do not. Do you have any interest in fighting over Goblin Trenches? They do not. Okay, so now they got to do something. They are dead on board. So action must be taken. Gushing. Gushing and plushin'. Gushing and mushin' and flushin'. Impulse. You're impulsin'. Impulsin' and fulsin' and mulsin'. This deck is sweet. I mean, it is so funny that it's everything that goes on is so intrinsically tied to Oath. It's like, man, just like clearly the best thing going on. But like still, like this deck is hot. This is cool. Exploration seems bad for the home team. Exploration, Gush, you say. Trenches. You got removal spells, attacking, seal of fire on the table. Prevent all combat damage. Too bad that's not going to be enough. Because we got Goblin Bombardo. And now, is this prevent all combat damage or prevent all damage? Prevent all combat damage. Well, then, kind fellow, you're dead. Unless you got a counterspell, which is totally possible. Totally reasonable that you might have it. It's a totally reasonable thing to have. Given that you sculpted your deck. They got a capsize. That's fine. We got a Keldorn Outpost. Bing bong. I guess instead of Keldorn Outpost, I should have just continued trenching. Continued trenching in the Frenchin. All right, so they are an exploration deck, so Oath of Allegiance is kind of cool in that regard. What do we want to bring in? We obviously want all these disenchant effects. We want Curse Totem and Phyrexian Furnace to turn off their stuff. We don't need False Prophet. We don't need Wrath of God. Humility turns off their thing. Goblin Bombardment was cool in that spot, but is never actually going to work and do anything beyond that. Bolt, Seal of Fire, are never going to do anything beyond what they normally do. Serra's Sanctum, now that we've boarded out Seal of Fires, how much value are we actually going to get there? Replenish for counter spells to bleed that stuff, not the worst. Point of Rebirth, probably not that great. We do want all of the blasts. And to make room for the blast, we probably don't need Plan of Rebirth. Scroll Rack was good in that the removal is not necessarily all that bad. Shares is bad, and we have a bunch of stuff to deal with it. But as long as they don't get they also could like board into like Terravor or something. So the 61 card special. I think we'll get rid of a Serra's Sanctum and go with that. Going with these. Possible that like Pulverize is better too. They should have shown agreed, but that was kind of it. But I could see that over something else. You know what I mean? So once again, this is somewhat good in that we have rack. We could sort of fix this. I like the Triumph for just being able to clock them a little bit faster. I'm okay keeping this because the rack is going to set a bunch of stuff, and I actually do think Shared Triumph as a way to like expedite the clock is pretty nice. Seal of Cleansing was goated. If they hold up mana and don't do anything, I'm not going to cast the Seal of Cleansing into a counterspell. I'll just play the Shared Triumph. They will use their mana if they want to, and if not, then this Shared Triumph will be something that pressures them later. Let's name Goblin. It's possible that like playing this on Soldier in this matchup is a little bit better because this matchup does have a way to remove the thing that makes goblins, whereas the soldiers are a little bit more challenging, but we have access to 4 goblins. It's the thing in deck building. Like I would love that, have that refined. If we were going to stick to trenches, then Keldorn Outpost is still fine, but then like, okay, then let's make Decree of Justice just another trenches or, another Enlightened Tutor and just like, really lean into the fact that we're making the proper choice here. Like we are making the proper choice, but it still feels a little too marginal by comparison to what I'd like it to be. So Gush Rack is going to be really powerful, and I think I would like to nip that. The question is, they're tapped out. So do I leave a Seal of Cleansing on the table because they're tapped out? Do I play a Rack of Our Own? And I think a Rack of Our Own is going to be more attractive. I think a Rack of Our Own is more attractive. Presumably, they're sitting with a counterspell in hand. They didn't cast the Rack on 2. They waited. So, I mean, they had Impulse, but I think like that's the opportunity cost of like, okay, we get to hold up Impulse and leave up counterspell instead of going to Rack. And there's argument out of the way. It's pretty well disguised, but okay, so we're going to want to draw a land. I'm going to go... Humility is interesting, but it's going to be a little tricky. So I'm going to go Humility, and then we just need to draw... I mean, we can draw all these anytime, really, but I do want to draw land. I'm going to do this. I'm going to play a Seal, and then I'm going to Pyroblast this counterspell. If they have a Blue Blast, that's fine. What I really want to do is the more and more cards we empty, the softer this rack gets. They do have to Gush. The problem is that Gush beats a Pyroblast with a rack on the table because... the land's picked up part of the cost, so you can stymie it, but you can't really stop the fact that it can fill the hand back up, and you cut it by 50%, but which is significant, but not necessarily worth a card. What do we got? Horn. All right, so Horn is definitely the more valuable artifact. Realizing that with Scroll Rack, Pulverize would be hot. Gonna go here to play around Mana Leak. So they can look at the top 3 cards of the rack if we let them untap, they can look at the top 3/4 counterspell. But I guess that's sort of taking their whole turn and stripping them of what their hand already looks like, which I think is okay. I'm going to do it in their upkeep. If they do something here and tap off, then we're doing it now. They want to naturalize the rack. I'm going to disenchant the horn. We know the top cards, and we know we can't get through them, so it doesn't make sense to cycle through. Unless we wanted to like stick the humility next turn, which I don't think is necessarily correct. I'm going to cut them off this Yavimaya for sure. But I also think that like just going land, Decree of Justice, and then cutting them. But we also don't want to turn on their Oath of Druids. Like as long as the Oath of Druids is not on, they can't, really start going off. If they have 2 cards, I want to soften this rack. If they really need to protect it, that's cool by me. They're racking for 2 cards. Tricky online that you can't see how many cards they're racking for. So he's going to Time Warp. I'm going to cut this land. Okay, they're racking for 2 cards again. Passing the turn to us. I think the better line right now, if we make 2 2/2s, if I stick a Humility, so we can end step 2/2s, Humility when they Oath. Let's do that. This is a spot where this one Soldier would have been so much better, but how could we have known? At the time, how could we have known? Humility. So again, they had a counterspell, but again, that is okay. Softening the rack is giving us some turns. They've gone through 3 counterspells. They haven't done anything else here. I am going to Dust Bowl them before they untap so they can't warp, and they don't have a second green source, so they can't like cast their fatty. They know the top 3 cards of their deck, so they're not going to rack for them. Now they can rack for 4, but then they'll be down to 3 mana. If they do Oath, we do have the double swords from last game. This is like the contention for this deck. That's like they have to know that they're always going to be, whatever cards are just sitting in hand, that it's going to just be removal spells if nothing else has happened. Argument to hold on to a Dust Bowl in that spot if they play another Horn of Greed. But they haven't played a land, so they're not going to play a Horn of Greed until they have a land. So if they're sitting on that right now, but they also might rack right now to look at the next 4, but like every card they're seeing is fresh, so now they'll be able to look at some fresh cards. I think on their next draw step, because they knew the top 3. So they know every card they know the next card that's coming still. So they can look at the bottom, they can look at the next 4 cards if they want to do that, which they don't. I'm going to hang on to this totem just because if they're holding on to like a naturalize or something and not firing it off, I don't want to just give them a freebie target. This can be in response to, like, if they tap off green, Oath, then Oath, we play this, and then they have to deal with this before they can start cycling their thing back in. Since we have a clock, it's a relevant texture. Yeah, now they're looking at a fresh 6. It's tough again. We're seeing a bunch of all these scroll rack decks that we're seeing play with no fetch land. I mean, maybe they're playing a fetch land. It's like you'd want fetch land with Horn of Greed. So it's like, maybe you just play like off-color fetches and less basics just so you can do that. Because like Scroll Rack wants fetches, Horn of Greed wants fetches. Like fetch lands are broken. There's the Oath, just as we talked about. So now I'm going to get in for 2. I can't hold up double counter spells, so we are pretty insulated. I am just going to go like this. We can hold up Dust Bowl. We're still holding up double Swords to Plowshares. This is all on a mulligan because of the Shared Triumph, which I think we can clean up in deck building after the fact. If we were to continue exploring this type of idea, I think this game has been somewhat interactive. I think like interactive, somewhat like interesting so far. A lot of like the potential of what could happen and making decisions on those potential, and that's like really engaging. I think that the way that we need to like really sharpen this deck is like if we knew that we should have named this on Soldier. But it's like if this decree had just been a Goblin Trenches. So hit this now. I get that they can't activate an ability, so they only have 3 cards left in their deck. And without that, they have a Crows and Reclamation. They can put something back in. Horn of Greed, or they're just going to draw their deck to give us the win. Looks like it. They can Crows and Grip. They just have tutors for whatever they want. They have Moment's Peace. I don't see another win condition in their deck, so unless there's something that's still in their hand or the top 2 cards of their library to get us, I think we got them. There it is. All right, I think that was 4 rounds, so I think this is round 5. So let's get into it for the last one for Al's Pink Durdle deck. Pink Durdle would like to play first. This hand is not keepable. This hand is, though. We're going to keep this. We'll send back I think we want to send back the Replenish. It's just the thickest spell. We need a removal spell, and hopefully we can find a red source. Let's get rid of the Replenish. I like having our combo here with Shared Triumph in the Trenches. Obviously, a red source, our best draw. Thawing Glaciers is kind of a red source. I'm going to get the Shared Triumph down, though. I do want to get a little aggro against the black deck. I also think that, like, on the potential of us just, like, slamming a red source, we get to just go start doing the Trenches. And the Trenches are going to keep us up against this. Wasn't thinking we were on Zombie Infestation, but here we are. Red source. Not quite. But now we got Thawing Glacier's Rack. All right, so they have double port zombie infestation, so they'll be able to sit back on the ports and then make some tutus. And that's what they're going to do, discarding this Nether Spirit. And a Contamination. At the beginning of every sacrifice, it produces black instead of its normal color. At the beginning of your upkeep. Okay, so now all of our lands tap for black, is my understanding. And they just get to lock it with Nether Spirit. Okay, so we're locked under... I think we're locked under that forever now. Because the Nether Spirit plus Contamination means that we never get to cast a spell. Am I thinking about this correctly? So let's rack. I don't think we have an out, right? I don't think we have an out. Like they just turn 2 comboed us, turn 3 comboed us. Without a Phyrexian Furnace, I think this is just a hard lock. I think it's a hard lock. Let me double check. I'm just going to double check, but I think we just got contaminated because if we can't actually produce any colors of mana anymore that are relevant to us, then we can't remove it from the table, in which case we are locked. So I will save us the time and board in some stuff that can deal with such things. All right, so we definitely need that. We obviously need this. I don't know if Pulverize, I don't know if there's any artifacts, but last time we got punished by that, so it's possible that we do. Bolt and Seals, not really relevant. Seems like against them, maybe they're on hippies and stuff, so maybe we want this. Humility is not really going to matter against them if they're just making 2/2s. Same thing with Wrath of God. But I'm also okay if they're on black to like move towards these cards with False Prophet maybe is a little bit better. I think if that's the case, they're all 2/2s. Seal of Fire has some tension or some texture with Serra Sanctum. What else? Is there anything else? Oath of Lieges. I don't know if that's really going to be worthwhile here. We want all the seals. We want that stuff. Cursed Totem doesn't do anything. Yep, I think this is just where we're going to go. I think I'm more interested in Burn than I am the 4th Serra Sanctum, but let's get into it. We would like to keep this. Would we like to keep this? Yeah, we got Rack. Play this Rack. Nope, don't want to activate. What I want to do is activate Rack. Okay, we're going to put back Pulverize, Serra's, Oath, Plow, Decree. I would like to draw Decree. Gonna play this thing. I think the Furnace is more important on the table than the Seal of Cleansing in hand. I would be afraid of discard, but I think that since black is not going to be able to deal with something on the table, that getting down this to cut off the Nether Spirit is just going to be more valuable because then they can't contaminate. So if I remember correctly, the Source to Plowshares is right there. So we're going to Swords this, Seal, and now we're in. Another Nether Spirit. Peat Bog. I'm not going to let them untap with a Soul Land. Certainly not. We're at 18. Play a land. Play a land. Do it. You know you want to play a land. All right, Dystopia is a way to deal with a Seal of Cleansing. Let's get in the trenches. I think I might have missed a land drop. We're late in the stages here. This might have been an incorrect thing. I should have probably played the Serra Sanctum, of course, if I had a land drop there. But I'm also thinking, no. Hold on there, dude. Hold on, dude. Hold on. No, you want them to play a land so you can play Oath of Lieges. That's what's going on. They're going Engineered Plague. What are they putting Engineered Plague on? It must be Goblin. That's okay. We have Shared Triumphs in our deck. We also have Disenchants and such. They got to name Goblin. They got to shut this down for sure. Wasteland on the Dust Bowl. Hell yeah. We are oathin'. We are oathin' and pothin'. I'm gonna let them get if they play a second land here, I'm gonna let them get ahead by 1 land drop, just so we can get the shuffle. Because if they don't play a land, then we could do it by getting under the goblins, but then we're just, paying 2 mana just to get the shuffle, and we're behind on board. I like a free shuffle. Mishra's Factory, you say. So the clock has increased. That's great. I think we can sit back again, let another land happen, and then we'll shuffle one of these Serra Sanctums away. But I'm okay doing this right now. Furnace. Getting into the plains. I could see an argument for getting a mountain since we have Serra Sanctum, but most of our shit is white. All right, so this can get us a Seal of Cleansing to deal with this, which I kind of like. Kind of like it. I'm interested in doing that. Let's get ourselves... Oh, we can also get a Shared Triumph instead, actually. I like a Shared Triumph as a way to breeze through that instead, because Seal of Cleansing then can be used on something else later. Let's do that. Rack. Put back a Rack. And a Decree. We'll play the Serra Sanctum. Shared Triumph on Goblin. Fight over this Engineered Plague. Trenches. 2 mana. stay at land parity, and we're on the board. Now this Mishra's Factory cannot come through. No Mishra's Factory for you, boo. All right, so there's a lot of tension in this game. They still got 6 cards in hand. We are once again oathing. It's an interesting spot. They're doing this to get under the oath. Very interesting thing to do. I think that's okay because we're about to make some angels, and I don't think they're going to be checking us too hard this way. I don't want to have to sacrifice 2 lands to get an oath trigger. I guess there's something at the beginning of the upkeep. It didn't. Did it just breeze through this? Usually it's supposed to check and I could hold priority, I thought. I guess not. I thought that was. I thought trigger on the stack, it checks on resolution, and so you can respond. But apparently that's not the case. Well, if that's not the case, I'm going to pay 2, sack this, pay 1, trenches, sack this, cycling unearth, sickening dreams. The initial cost to discard X spells, X damage to each creature and each player. Yes, so I shouldn't have sacked all my shit into their thing. That's okay. We're going to get some lands and some shuffles. Well, that's kind of cool. So we can make 3 1/1s, or... So I'm holding up 4 power because I can sack this to destroy that. So that'll blank combat. It would make sense that they would attack. I'll sacrifice a land. I'll make 2 1/1s. I'll go to block. Okay, it's fine. Clip that. 2 2s. We trade. Keep a gobbo. Cleared the way for infestation. That's okay. Yes. Get that. False Prophet. Get in there. Okay, so they discarded a contamination. Discarding a contamination, we have the Nether Spirit contamination thing checked. I think we're relatively stable here now that we're going to get to make... They see onboard trenches, so I am going to cycle. Did it not let me put that mana in? Well, that's sort of shitty because I was really anticipating being able to do that. So instead, let's rack, exile your bottom card, trenches. We are going to use this Oath of Lieges, of course. But of course, Plan a Rebirth, very cool. Very, very hot thing to do. So let's do this. Sack that. 1, 2, pay 2. This, 4. Sack, do that. Plan a Rebirth. All of them come back. Holding up this here Phyrexian Furnace. That'll do it. Last game. Let's go. Let us get on it. We're not making any changes. We like what we have. I think Pulverize is the only thing that you could consider otherwise. Maybe there's a world where Humiliated to shut off 2 2s, but like that seems so anemic. Everything else within range. Within the range. All right, for all the marbles, let's do it. Don't think this is it. We are on the draw, so this Oath should get us. But then if they just have the same thing, we need our Disruption. We can't just get contaminated again. This is a bit more in line. We like Thawing Glacier, Scroll Rack. Cabal Therapy, you got it. If you hit, you're very good. Might just be, they might just name trenches in the blind. It would suck that it lines up that way. Lightning Bolt was the name. We have a Seal of Fire instead. Given that they can just flash that back and know about the seal and cared about Bolt, I guess the line is just playing this. I'll take the damage rather than show them what I had. The Cabal Therapy, giving them information of a hidden card is relevant with Cabal Therapy. I think it's more relevant than a life. Let's get this rack down. It's now the only card they know about in hand that they can name with Cabal Therapy is Trenches. They're thinking on this one for some reason. So Raystack just put in the thing, said friendly in the chat. He said friendly ping on this. Scroll Rack was the first card we banned from our EDH group. I'm not sure why. Scroll Rack is sweet. Why would you want to get rid of it? It is awesome. When you cast a spell, sacrifice the creature. Okay, so you're just not going to cast spells. You're just looking to get in and not cast spells. I think I'm looking to play this and get in some trenches whenever you cast a spell. So if you man up the factory, I'll shoot down with the Seal of Fire. The Seal of Fire. Interesting to throw your Mishra's Factory into a Seal of Fire, but such is the story. Gotta go out to the Dust Bowl, right? Nope, gonna go out to the color. It's all well and good, homie, all well and good. Thawing Glacier's down. It's rack for 3. Post a Suite. Put back the Lieges. Put back the Disenchant. We'll draw the mountain. Play the mountain. Play a Furnace. Go there. And then we're going to pass the turn. Raystack said that Scroll Rack is very slow, and it's the reason why my clock is 2 times run out compared to his. And I would say that argument is both a combination of me being slow as a player on Magic Online and having a lot more clicks with all of these different things, like Oath of Lieges taking 4 clicks to resolve and all that stuff. So I don't think we can pin it on Scroll Rack. I think that's not a fair assessment. Planar Rebirth is very cool. So what we can do is we can go Kildoran Outpost. Should have definitely floated mana there. Let's do this. I needed that mana pretty significantly. Turns out, still doing it. All right. Okay. Target you. He's sacking the bog. We're going deep. We're going to sack this Skittering Scourge whenever you cast a creature spell. A creature spell. So it looks like we probably just got contaminated again out of this game. Although he just sacked the thing that was going to kill me. Very strange. Play a Thawing Glacier. So he's going to sack the Nether Spirit. Oh, he's just going to sack the contamination. Okay, so you just play the contamination to Time Walk for the turn. It's cool. We'll sack this. Sack this. In the event of a removal spell, Hypnotic Spectre, exile the bottom card. Nether Spirit is the only creature card in your graveyard. Well, as long as there's a Skittering Scourge, don't got to worry about that. Seal of Cleansing. All right, so let's Enlighten Tutor for a Seal of Fire. Thorn Outpost. 2 cards. We'll put the rack underneath. Scroll here. Cast this. Seal that down. Get him for 4. I'll draw the Seal of Cleansing, but then we'll shuffle away the rack with the Thawing Glacier. And I think we're pretty well set up here. I mean, we got to have to worry about this Mishra's Factory still, but once we play this Goblin Bombardment, we'll have that relatively checked. He's tapping out here, so he's not going to attack with his Mishra's Factory because he's paying 3 black, and that'll do it. Well done. And that's why we're not getting rid of Scroll Rack, because it didn't matter that it took some game actions to get done. So, Al, thank you very much for your donation deck list. This was called Pink Durdle, obviously, because red and white make pink. And it was sweet. I think there's a lot of things that we can do to improve upon the deck, because there are certain things about the deck that were super cool. Like, don't get me wrong, my favorite moment of this league was the lightning bolt into the lightning bolting our own false prophet against goblins. That was hot. That was really cool. But I think that, like, all in all, I think the cool things that this deck is doing are the Goblin Trenches, Oath of Lieges, Thawing Glaciers type stuff to, like, just constantly be putting lands into play and essentially, like, it seems like the creme de la creme of this deck is, of course, the hybrid card. Is the 2-color card, is the Goblin Trenches. I just wanted more Goblin Trenches more often, and I just wanted ways to, like, really suit up and make those Goblin Trenches really powerful. So, like, if, like, with the Forcera Sanctum to make a bunch of mana to, like, sack more lands, then the bottleneck just becomes we need more lands. And so, like, I think that we can, if we were to move away from Decree of Justice and move away from, like 2 bombardments, because I think, like, at a certain point you just want more Enlightened Tutors rather than second bombardment, because you never want to see the second bombardment, especially since you're already, like, looking at replenishes and stuff. But I think, like, we can just build more towards, like, even though there's, like, the Humility package and, like, there's Orim's Prayer with Humility and stuff like that, like, I think the Orim's Prayer can move to the sideboard for, like, the matchups where you really want that exact thing, and then lean into more Enlightened Tutors to, like, sort of tie the room together. I think that Goblin Trenches is awesome, and I think that Oath of Lieges with the Trenches is really where the deck was humming, because then you could stay under the Oath, and the Oath was just giving you the things every turn. And so it means to me, like, man, we could really move into, like, Forcera Sanctum with the, red-white enchantment side of things, which is like, okay, then, we have 3 disenchants on the board, but really, like, maybe they should also be Seal of Cleansings, or, like, more Seal of Cleansings than disenchants. I think that, like, there's a world where we just lean really hard on Shared Triumph, and it's like, because, like, when you level up the trenches, like, anything that's leveling up the trenches, I think is just, like, where the deck is really shining. So I would lean into that. I think, like, Pink Durdle could just become Goblin Trenches.deck and really lean into that. And I think that the Oath of Lieges combination with the trenches, and then, tying the room together with Seal of Sarah Sanctum in order to, like, stay under, but still be making stay under the Oath of Lieges, but still be making a ton of mana to convert these goblins is really, really hot. I think that's super cool. And that's what I would do. I think this is really cool, and I would just, like, lean further into that package. The Planet Rebirth was, like, hit or miss. Like, it was fine when it happened, but, like, once you have the Oath of Lieges going, like, the mana that you had, it didn't really matter that you went and did, like, this huge burst of mana. So I don't know if the Planet Rebirth is also all that needed. Like, I liked Goblin Trenches. I wanted more Enlightened Tutors to find the Goblin Trenches, or Shared Triumph when, like, that happens, because Shared Triumph beats the Engineered Plague, which is, like, the way that they would beat Goblin Trenches, and so that's really cool. I also think, like, just making more low to the ground enchantments means that Sarah Sanctum is turned on a little bit faster, which is cool. I mean, like, the Wrath of God effects and the Humility effects, like, that's all well and good, but I think, like, we can trim on those things, because this makes it really clunky. Like, when you open your second Humility or 2 Humilities, or Humility and a Wrath of God, it's like, man, I would really like if that was just 1 Humility and then the rest were Enlightened Tutors, so I could just tie this room together. I get that Enlightened Tutors bad and we're already going down cards, but, like, if you think about how many cards we go up between Oath of Lieges and Goblin Trenches, is just really where this deck wants to thrive. So Kildoran Outpost also was was sweet. It was good against a bunch of the decks because, you know, uncounterable creatures is very good. But I think that, like, let's lean into Goblin Trenches, man. I hope that next time you give a donation deck list, you refine this. Go take us further into the trenches. If anybody would like to put a donation deck list to Eternal Durdles, that you can hop over to patreon.com/Eternal Durdles, where we have a Patreon donation deck tier. You can have either Zac or I play your deck on the channel once a month. But until then, I thought this was sweet. I had a blast playing Premodern. I absolutely adore this format. I think this was a super cool brew. Al, thank you so much for Pink Durdle, and we will catch all of you next time.
So we definitely saw the power of this deck when we played against creature decks. Absolutely just smashes any deck that relies on creatures to win the game. And, you know, we played, 2 of the Parallax Tide decks. They just absolutely crushed us. That's always the situation when you're playing like a Thawing Glacier style deck or a deck that like relies on lands to win the game, is that Parallax Tide is just such a brutal monster when it comes to that stuff. But we got to see the power of the deck in the last game. Super fun. Really appreciate my opponent just sticking it out till the very, very end. And you can see the control for this deck too, which was awesome. I really like the Cursed Totems here. They worked really well. I think I would probably move some Disenchants out of the board and play Tormod's Crypts as well as the Furnaces. I might move the Furnaces into the main deck, probably in the place of these False Prophets. False Prophet was cute, but not doing a whole lot for me, which allows you to have 2 more sideboard slots, so maybe you get to play those Disenchants there. Pulverize, I don't know that there's a deck that you really want Pulverized for right now. So there's that. I think you'd be better off playing like some kind of a Hoser or something. Even Warmth would be fine. I think your deck is a little soft to direct damage effects, so maybe a couple of Warmth would be fine in there to keep it going. I think maybe a Sacred Ground or 2 might be worth having because you're playing Color and Post. So those are my thoughts, Al. I don't know, man. I actually had a lot of fun with this. The first 2 games were sort of rough, but I had a lot of fun as we went through the league. So anyhow, thanks for watching. Al, again, thank you for doing the deck donation. If you want to do a deck donation and get like a breakdown on your deck, you can put us into any of the Premodern, Legacy, Vintage. If you want to have us jam Premier against each other, Phil and I will try and jam Premier, something we've been messing around with. Yeah, with that said, thank you for watching. And once again, Al, thanks so much. Have a good one. Hey, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button.
You can also support us on patreon.com/Eternal Durdles, which now offers the new deck donation tier.
During July, the deck donation patrons will get a 2-for-1 special where both Phil and I will run your deck through a league.
I'll play literally whatever you want.
So brew your spiciest or stock us up with a stock list.
I'll literally play whatever you want.
Thanks for watching.